Right. And for all of our subscribers, we are rolling our 30-second ad break before we drop into our stream. So please be patient with us while we keep the lights on here at Philly by Night. And 5 seconds cast. Four, welcome, welcome, welcome to another coterie session of Philly by Night. Tonight we are with our Meals on Wheels coterie. It is thank you to our viewers for letting me know that my mic is giving me a little bit of problems. Hopefully that's better for everybody. Tonight we are joining our Meals on Wheels coterie as they peruse an art gallery here in Philadelphia. So we're going to start, as usual, with our early risers. Mr. Pacifico. It's been a couple days since your meeting with the Ancilla coterie. It is currently July 22nd, 2024. And so it's been a couple days, and things have had a chance to cool down a bit. But as you rise an hour before sunset, what is going through Mr. Pacifico's mind?
He wakes up to another beautiful, beautiful night of it not being a bullet. He is able to pull himself together, and he has satiated his need to eat recently, something he finds rather abhorrent to have to do, but necessary, as he is one of the damned. Whether he jokes about it, lies about it, fibs, or talks around the subjects, one is what they are, and they cannot prevent themselves from being that. So he covers all the ritual scars and text burned into his fat flesh with clothes, puts on his scarf, adjusts it, takes a moment to check himself over in the mirror, and as he always does before the sun sets, takes an hour to do some reading, takes an hour to look over some books, some documents, anything he can gather to get his hands on. He just likes there being at least a little bit of time in the morning where he can be alone with his thoughts, because the night does not let him do that very often.
Understandable. So as we zoom out from Mr. Pacifico, we move down the hall just a bit to our other early riser for the evening. Miss Lewis, you have had a chance to learn that your daughter and Bailey are in town, that they have been set up at what will serve as a personal haven for you, which has been set up courtesy of the Sextons. And you've also just received word that the testosterone clinic is ready to open. Things are looking up after a fashion for everyone's favorite Philly duskborn. So, as you rise from day sleep, uh, how is Darlene feeling this evening?
Um, she has not seen Bailey and Lacey yet. They are in the city and they are getting set up, right?
They are getting set up. Yes, we can always schedule a side session to take care
It's
of
okay.
the little
Or
minutia.
I'm good to also storyboard it.
Of course, of course.
All right. If they're set up, she's back. She's had cheerful introductions. And she would have tucked Lacey into bed and, given her all the love in the world and given Bailey all the love in the world and said, okay, mommy's got to go. Mommy's got to go to work. I love you. Sweet dreams. I'll see you in the morning. Good night. And she will head over to the Coterie Haven and just like, she doesn't walk super well, but it's like she's got wings on her heels. She's just overjoyed and pouring it out like in every move and gesture.
So Charles is grappling with the damned nature. Darlene is on cloud 9. As the sun sinks beneath the Philadelphia skyline, and you feel your beasts begin to settle, you'll pan over to the warehouse district and one Mr. Colin Fry. Colin, the sun has set. You rise from day sleep. You see the familiar faces of the rats that have taken up residence and serve as kind of day watch for you. There's not many. It's not like you have a full-blown infestation, but there are a good 4 or 5 that kind of scurry around the perimeter. You'll see them on the rafters. Because after all, who notices a rat in a rundown warehouse? But what is going through your mind as you rouse from day sleep?
Looks around. Ladies, gentlemen, ladies, gentle thems, to the rats, comes out. Another good day of work for you. Thank you. And teriyaki to one, and I believe it was original flavor for the other that was popular the last time. And then, morning, sunshine. And then he hears back in an earpiece that is not connected to a phone or anything. Morning, face ache, from a very, very, very bitter person who is taking joy in having something new to say. Oh, you were listening to that, huh? Okay. Yeah, I'll let her know.
My heart.
Love you too. Love you too, sunshine. And presuming that Kate has nothing new to report, just like the rats, he is going to, after having roused and feeling a bit hungrier, blush. And then there's a problem. And after that, if you want to highboard it, we can highboard it, or I can go into it.
We can highboard it.
He makes a
Unfortunately,
call to his Mala.
as as you affect the blush of life, you feel yourself begin to get a little viscous, goopy, if you will. And you place a call to your Mala, and not long after, the electric blue Jeep that Seifer drives around in pulls up outside of the warehouse and into one of the little lean-tos off of the building, kind of obscure where she is. She rolls open the door and kind of gives you a little wave and holds up a great big waxed canvas tarp.
Colin starts to get a thank as he's attempting to force his vocal cords to start to say thank you, goes fuck it in his head, and then just goes over to her.
And she will get you bundled up in the tarp into the back of the Jeep, because driving around with what looks like a dead body wrapped in a tarp in the passenger seat is a little suspicious. So unfortunately for you today, Mr. Fry, you are flying coach.
I am now one of the trunklings. Delightful.
Everyone is foldable if you push hard enough.
Very true, especially if you're goopy.
Especially if you're goopy. So Sifra is able to get you over to the mortuary and load you in through the same way they load bodies in through the hearses and what have you. Is able to get you down into the workroom and just very calmly begins blending you up a smoothie, because thankfully the first of the organ meat shipments has come in. Now, I know we talked about marking this down as heard, but tonight is because you succeeded on your hunting check. We're going to treat this as the first shipment of organ meats that have come in. And Sifra is just humming along as she blends up a smoothie for you. You're seated on one of the gurneys that they use that you use to move bodies around. But as she walks over to you with she doesn't even bother to put it in a cup. She just brings the blender carafe straight over to you, hands it to you, and begins setting about tidying up, cleaning up some of the slop, things of that nature. As you drink down your smoothie, you can feel the hunger subside. You can feel yourself begin to solidify again. And as that happens, she looks over at you. I have to take care of a couple things for Mrs. Sexton tonight, but Rowan's gonna take care of things for me while I'm gone. And with that, she just kind of rots out.
Once he has vocal cords that don't require massive amounts of willpower to function, he mutters to himself, "Another glorious day in the life."
As you all gather in the communal space up in the coterie haven, Rowan is already there waiting for everybody. He's got a manila folder in his hands. It looks like he too has been up before the sunset, but has just recently arrived as everybody was going through their post-sunset dealings. He has shown up, posted up in the communal room. And he looks at the three of you. Good evening, everybody.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening, guys. How's everybody doing?
Well, you, Miss Lewis?
I'm doing great. Look what Lacey drew. It's the cutest picture, isn't it?
Are those two apples?
There are
What
two
are they?
apples.
They're holding hands.
They are
Cool.
holding hands. Is it not the cutest thing that you've ever seen? Oh my god.
I've never seen anything cuter.
I know, right?
As one of your shadows, I want to express a measure of pride in what you all did the other night. The Ancilla have gotten very used to a status quo in the city, and standing up for yourselves. My dad would be really proud.
Colin does finger guns at Charles and Darlene.
Way to
Charles.
go, guys. Bravo.
Charles nods his head at both of his coterie mates and then the shadow and simply says, "It took exceptional effort from us all. They did not necessarily. They drove a hard bargain. I feel happy with the price we were able to reach with them. And I thank you as well for your support of us and our development. Your father certainly does have an eye for talent. And
Don't get me started. He's always going on about that. I have a keen eye for talent.
Charles keeps his mouth shut.
Colin keeps an eye on Charles. He's continuing to watch and learn.
I hope that they're doing okay. I hope it's not too much bad blood. I hope they maybe like learn and grow.
I hope that Hawk doesn't try and kill Charles.
Oh, I doubt he would. He would ever. I would never imply that another member of another coterie would ever wish me any harm. And besides, that matter was resolved with the passing of a boon, and it would be in bad practice to renege on a tired issue already resolved with a boon.
See, Charles gets it.
Colin kind of frowns for a second, but then nods thoughtfully and is like, "Huh, clever girl. Clever girl. All right, okay, fair enough."
You would have
He
made a
Damn.
really good Ventrue.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that, man.
You were the right,
All right.
if you were the right pedigree. I mean, like, thank God you're not. I'm so happy you're here with us. But like,
So
Fair enough.
tonight we're going to be paying a bit of a visit to our roses.
I know
Can't
about
speak. I can't speak too much for the Primogen. She is Wendy's a dear, but she's been through a lot, and her whip is a consummate survivor. I would recommend exercising caution around him. He can be a little forward.
are I'm sure y'all are on like good terms with Wendy. Are y'all on like? I mean, are the Sextons on okay terms with the whip or?
Laurent Laurent was a fixture in this city before the war.
interesting.
And when the former prince took power, he saw fit to find more accommodating domains to spend his time in. Coming back to the city only after my father had taken charge. I don't know what kind of deal they all worked out. I'm not often privy to that kind of information, but needless to say, uh, the court finds some utility in Laurent and has deemed it appropriate to give him a place in our city. Wendy seems to trust him enough to have made him her whip. So that has to be good enough for me.
You appear to have reservations.
I share my father's distrust of the roses.
Word. Out of game.
Wendy was press ganged. Laurent had a choice. What was that? Out of game?
I put in a request for a gift. I don't know if that's.
Yes. We can say that is
If
good
that's
to go.
if that's gonna like. We're kind of flying by the seat of our pants here. If that's going to be too much, I'm not going to press the issue.
Let me so I'm gonna check this real quick. Ba, 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 ba. We have. And I do apologize for this.
She was going to try to make a pedestal as a gift.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. It is not the like marvelous work of marble or anything like that, but you were. Let me just see this real quick. You know what? Yeah. You were with some paints and some help of the local Joanne fabric, you were able to craft something passable, artistic even. Uh it is
There's a
it's
thing she
not
was going for.
okay.
She was going to try to make the base just a basic lacquer, but with an acrylic top with some LEDs kind of at the base of it to give the impression of an underlighting with a red orange, what one would even say fiery look, that would be coming up from below.
You know what? Yeah, between the available arts and crafts here in the city and the generous stipend that you receive from the city, that's not an issue. That's perfectly well within your ability to craft. So you do have a sizable pedestal, foot and a half, 2 foot tall. Just something nice that you can present to the whip.
Great. With a hellfire motive.
But Rowan just kind of grits his teeth a bit, but he softens when he sees the pedestal. It's actually really smart, Darlene. Art for art. I take it you've dealt with roses a time or two? Sorry
Yeah,
to hear that.
you could say.
Well, enough of
A
me
gift from all of
jawboning.
us, from the Wheels on Wheels coterie.
It's smart. It's a good play.
Oh, thanks. I hope he likes it.
Miss Lewis will be taking point on most of the contact in this regard. I leave it to her expertise. I have done my part, and it's about time that you had a chance to show off yours.
Well, I think that Laurent would like you guys just as much as me. So let's just kind of like we can just play it by ear and see who we vibes the best with. Maybe it'll be all of us. And Darlene doesn't technically believe this, but she's scared. Colin, you have an insight to probably see. You know her history with toreadors. She's scared.
Regardless, I will be with you every step of the way.
Thanks.
As well, one,
Thank you.
not the Baron that you've had issue with in the past. Two, if there's anything too bad, we can always jump him. Three, the city will probably handle it. The prince runs a pretty tight ship, and he does not like, from my experience of verbal missteps of myself and others in front of me, implications he is not in control of his city. He would probably take issue with somebody messing with you. Just in the same way that Finn would have disliked Charles mentioning his wife. Fold
learned
clothes
my
with
lessons.
person in it.
Which reminds me, I do have one question before we proceed to this meeting, if you would be willing to answer for us.
Of course.
Charles pulls out a little notepad where he often writes his little shorthand notes to himself, and he goes, I didn't have a chance to inquire with this beforehand, but what are the prince's, I don't want to call them rules, tolerances for the use of powers on other kindred? When we're walking to a den of roses, I want to make sure that I don't act impolite by reacting to something that is considered well accepted within the prince's domain.
You will notice a like a sea change in Rowan's demeanor as he makes eye contact to the best of his ability. Prince Sexton is not a fan of the gifts of Cain. He feels that if you can get by without relying on them, you should. That being said, if you are ever attacked in his city, he expects you to defend yourself in kind. As long as you are protecting yourself and do not violate the traditions, I don't think there's going to be a problem. Not for you, anyway. The aggressor, however, will face the prince's justice. Benny does not play nice.
Benny's fast. If she treats kindred like she treats doors. Yeah.
Well,
Sometime I'll have to tell you all about the Bruja proverb she told me once.
I will wait with bated breath. I would have a question for, again, Charles, Darlene. With this information in mind, is Auspex amongst us premeditated okay, or would you like us to do that after presence has been used, if it happens?
I would say that the gifts of Auspex would perhaps allow us to reveal if there are gifts of presence. I find the gift of Auspex does not necessarily affect other people more so than they reveal what other people might affect oneself with. Is at least been my interpretation.
Hey, boss. Is there a problem if my coterie consents that your father would have if I used telepathy on them to relay information between us? With their consent, in front of you.
The prince is very fond of informed consent.
Yeah, we cool, great. Also, good for him. I'm for his consent, pretty great.
It's
Charles,
part
darling,
of
we
the
that's
reason why he prefers to adopt as opposed to embrace.
interesting.
That guy.
Charles smiles.
Balls in your
Well,
court, you two.
I will have found that in of so far you all have acted with a great deal of pragmatism and loyalty towards our shared objective, and as such, I will allow you access to my mind if that would be beneficial to our mission, only for the duration of our mission, of course.
For this mission today, to be refreshed as you choose, and to be ended when you tell me to. Honestly, I'll be in your head. Real quick, Fry's consent. Freely given, reversible, informed, enthusiastic, specific. You are freely giving me permission without any coercion in front of my boss, who can beat the crap out of me, that you are cool with me being in your head. Reversible. You say something in your head, I'll know about it. You're done. You're done. Hey, no ifs, ands, or buts. Informed.
Excellent.
I can't
I
control what I see in your head necessarily. I can dig deeper, but if you think something on the surface, I'm gonna see it. I don't have to dig deeper automatically, but I'm gonna see stuff on the surface. That's not under my control. Enthusiastic. I want a hard yes, not an okay. Specific. I'm gonna be in your head. Sorry.
Charles's teeth grit for a minute, and he says, I, Charles P. Pacifico, in my duties as a member of the Meals on Wheels coterie, offer enthusiastic consent on the grounds that we agree that any surface thoughts I think stay between the two of us.
Done. If you choose to reverse that at a later point, that's fine.
And if you ask me for consent to share any of those and I provide it, that would be considered acceptable as well. And Charles
Sure.
reaches his hand out for Colin.
It looks over at the boss, makes sure that Rowan is paying attention, and then shakes Charles' hand.
Oh, Rowan has been watching you all intently as
Cool.
you go through this. He
Please
seems
don't lynch me. Please don't have your dad lynch me.
he seems rather pleased with how y'all are handling yourselves.
I'm a massive coward. Please don't kill me. Darlene,
I'm
same
just
deal.
I'm just a
Like
baby.
everything you said. I mean, if you want me to repeat it, I can repeat it.
Sure. Yes. Actually, yes. Enthusiastic. Yes.
Yes, enthusiastic. Yes, yeah. You have total consent to like be in my mind.
All right. It's easiest. With eye contact, Colin goes over and looks at his stockpile of organs. I believe I have 2 amounts if I fuck up both of these.
You have enough to slake 2 hunger.
I am about to do the thing in my channel. Here goes. Let's hope it wasn't like my earlier rolls. Here we
Well,
go, boss.
you're already down to 1 hunger, so you don't need.
It might go to 2 and then 3 because I'm going to be adding it, becoming a network between the 2 of them.
Yes. Okay.
So, we might have a
Well,
repeat.
using a network if
Thankfully, they are willing participants, so
I know, you don't
the
have to willpower.
difficulty will be low.
Tres, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah. Charles is willing, so you do not have to contend with I believe the power is called
Resolve all specs versus wit subterfuge.
yes. No fortify the inner facade for you. Charles is dropping that.
Because you'd beat me. All right. 9 dice, swing. Here we go. First rouse, then, yeah.
First rouse, then roll for power.
Hey, not yet. Okay, so at
Hey.
minimum we're gonna go to 2, or maximum. So,
Rouse
V
is
roll
good.
9, hunger 1. Yeah, having 5 specs. Holy Jesus Christ!
I'm gonna say that, yeah, that is a
More than
roll like
3.
that.
You do good.
That is 8 whole successes. So if you wanted to, you could always try to crit fish, but you don't have to.
I mean, it would be a chance of a 10, so I'm not gonna, because that's only 1 in 10, and that'd be a willpower. So, but good to know. Now for Darlene. Here we go. Rouse.
Yep. Rouse, and then the roll for the discipline.
Fuck. All right. Well, one of
No.
the herd things goes that way. It's only one.
Okay.
One of the 2 herd numbers used. Marked on sheet. Next is the roll. 9, hunger 1. I'm gonna, just in case, because I've got 4 I could do. I'm gonna crit fish and go
Okay.
from 6 to 5.
You could just hit the reroll failures button, and that'll.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that! 8 successes with a crit.
All right. The critical win gives a more coherent picture of the subject's current thoughts and intentions. That's all it says. Just a more coherent picture, so it's not as hard. As a reminder, it is a full scene on consenting subjects. If I ever do it with you as ST on somebody who is unconsenting, it is 1 minute per. However, just heads up.
Yep.
Cheers.
Oh, I'm
Collins in your
familiar
head.
with the telepathy.
Ah, yes, fair enough.
Yeah,
Yeah, Bossman has at least 1 rank. No, he has 3 ranks at least. Yeah.
He has more than 3.
Delightful.
He has eaten lots of people.
Fair enough. This is the first time I've used telepathy on this server. What is it like, boss?
I think
It
you know
is-
enough about Darlene's headscape to.
It is strange, as you've effectively constructed a mini cobweb. There is surface thoughts come to you like whispers. They are not these loud, profound things. They are more just passing whispers in a dark room. But you can hear the surface most level of thoughts. And then there's one other thing, seemingly further away in the darkness. A voice that does not match either of your coterie mates. It is a soft, feminine giggle. I can see you. With the slightest puff of bright pink glitter.
Collins says test in his own head, then says test in Darlene's head, and then says test in Charles's head.
Which both of you can hear him say test.
Test.
Charles's mind is
in
like,
your own head.
Yeah, Charles's mind is like walking into an Amazon warehouse where everything is on fire. There is everywhere you look, there is this burning hot sensation. Thoughts come from are bursting out of boxes and being shoved back in, but through the chaos, a received comes back in like a conveyor belt through your mind.
You have a different memory palace than I have. It is interesting. Not bad, interesting.
You keep it all locked away, or else they all come tumbling down. Right, well, In
But
that case, then
after you hit your coterie mates with the test, you hear that faint pastel pink voice again. Just go, pong.
Can I tell if it's in my head, Charles's head, or Darlene's?
It's in yours.
Okay,
It's
so they heard it.
it's
They're
like,
responding to mine. Okay, so that's
yep,
interesting.
they're responding to you, but they can't seem to hear what you hear.
Lady, gentlemen, somebody's in my head.
Oh,
I said that
make
to
him pay
both of
rent.
them. Is there a response?
Oh, they can't hear you. They can't hear me. Only you can.
Who are you working for and who are you?
I'm Sandy. I'm part of the Oracle Net.
Colin has a amount of occult. He also has an amount of resolve, and he has been studying. He does know about the cobweb or Oracle Net, or does he not?
You would not know about the Oracle Net. As somebody who is not an Oracle, you would not know about the Oracle Net.
Got it. Fucking excuse me?
One moment, please.
Sure.
I'm just getting G'day caught up to speed because they will be
Oh.
joining us momentarily.
Awesome. I'm glad
lovely.
they can make it.
In the meanwhile, I guess I could describe Charles's mental palace that Colin sees a little bit better.
I'd be thrilled. The Colin is. I'm evaluating my options because Colin has realized somebody's in his head that he did not invite in, but it doesn't appear to be so far an agent of his boss.
Yes.
His other boss.
It's a big warehouse filled with boxes. All of them are on fire. Thoughts burst out of the boxes. The ones who the thoughts that don't burn to a crisp land on a conveyor belt and then roll kind of through this stream of consciousness that comes like right towards you. You notice that there are heavy metal shutters everywhere that have been lifted that seem like they could drop at any moment.
Damn, Colin says inside Charles's head absently, while he's dealing with the fact that there's an intruder in his head and he knows he has been dominated to shit. But it sounds like this is not from the sire. It sounds like this is something else. So he's filed
Yeah.
away Sandy in his head.
This is not a voice that you would know.
No, he hasn't heard the name Sandy. He knows Wendy Darling because the boss described. Pardon. Alicia Sexton Queen did mention Wendy Darling in his second section 0. He hasn't heard of Sandy though. That's new. He hasn't heard of them on any Seneschal board missions either. So he's kind of, who the fuck are you? Kind of right now.
So, Sandy, you've already told Colin that you're part of the Oracle Net. But who is it that you work for?
Who do I work for? That's a silly question when you're the one who opened the door.
What?
Yeah.
Listen, are you with the Sire? Are you with Philadelphia? Are you with the Hecata? Are you with somebody from my past? I don't know. This is important information.
Yes. But more importantly, no.
Okay, so mathematician's answer aside, because that's going to irritate me, and you can probably feel that because you're in my head. I'm gonna need a little bit more specifics before I have problems.
You're a seer, right?
Define seer.
You opened the door.
What? That you've mentioned that twice. You have not explained. You're a Malkavian, aren't you?
Of course I am. And you're
Figures. Yep,
not.
that's par. Okay. No, I'm not. What is seer? Wait, Wendy Darling's a seer. No, I don't have premonition. I don't think I have premonition. What? Is that the door?
Do you? No. 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 You don't see the here now. You see the ago.
Yes.
So seeing is seeing. You
Huh.
put in the mines,
Maybe.
which opened the door.
Uh. Okay. This has all been at the speed of thought, so I think he's gotten this far before going to, "Hey, boss," aloud. Do you know of a Sandy? Because this is all at the speed of thought, except his mouth, and now he's clocked onto that. You're muted.
There is a slow smile that spreads across Rowan's face.
Colin's like,
Sandy's a friend.
okay, cool. Good information. Was missing that bit. Didn't get that yet. Probably wasn't going to get it for another 30 minutes. Thanks.
From what I got from Mix LeClaire, she's a little
Malk,
eccentric,
par. Do you know
but
what her is? Actually, he probably hasn't gotten that far yet. The speed of thought. Hi, Sandy in my head. Have you had time to say more things?
How do you see but don't know?
I'm self-taught, and I'm learning about the occult. Also, I'm answering you honestly, just FYI, because my boss vouches for you. Just heads up.
Who do you work for?
So long as the check's clear and I'm safe, Prince and also King Sexton.
King.
Till somebody beats him, but I really hope that doesn't happen anytime soon.
I didn't think King was a title.
He's got a lot of titles. I have a memory palace, and I am pretty strong-willed, and I like to burn things into my head, and he's got a lot of titles.
It is a nice head.
I am concerned you think so.
Everything is so orderly.
That probably has to do with the trauma.
Not that one, though. That place is on fire.
Which place? There's probably a lot of things on fire in my head. And probably 10,000 frogs screaming.
But they're not seers.
Can you see the people connected to me?
Oh, yes. You opened the door to the net.
How far can Colin get? I'll give it a bit more. Okay. You are a friend of one of my bosses, which is Rowan Everly, right?
I don't know who that is. He's not on the net.
Okay, cool. You know the prince, right?
Prince Sexton is also not on the net. Only
Okay.
seers.
I don't have premonition. Okay. Listen, I need you. I really, really, really would like you to not invade my head, but also the people connected to me. I kind of made a promise to them, and it's city business.
Oh, which city?
Philadelphia. Where are you?
Newton County, I think.
Where the hell is Newton County?
Is that where we are right now?
What?
Maybe it
You're
isn't.
oh, right, Milkavian. Hey, boss, I don't live in Pennsylvania. What county is the city of Philadelphia in?
So the city of Philadelphia is in Philadelphia County.
Figures.
But more importantly, Newton County is not a county in Pennsylvania.
Oh, he would know that. Interesting. File that away in the mind that this person could apparently see. Oh, this is interesting. He doesn't like other people in his mind. He's supposed to be the one going
Ooh,
to invading and studying other people.
another cabinet.
Okay, well,
So
I
shiny.
listen, I've got a lot of trauma and spiky things around here. You're going to want to be careful where you poke around. There's some unpleasant stuff. There's some stuff that I'm not proud of. There's some stuff that's probably really ugly. There might be some of the boxes that smell like really bad. Like, just be careful where you go. Maybe you just don't go in here. Don't look around. That'd be great.
Oh, no, I'm here to be your guide.
But what if you didn't?
Well, then I wouldn't be a very good guide.
But I didn't ask for a guide.
Well, no, but you are a seer. You see the ago.
But what if I'm not seeing the ego right now and I've got stuff to do?
I can help. Hello,
Okay.
other people. I can help.
Okay, well, this is going to be interesting. I haven't run into. No, I have run into a Malkavian recently in the city. That was interesting.
Sorry. Does that come through the rest of us? That hi everyone.
You see Colin get
Hello,
a
other
panic look
people.
and
I
then
can
shut
help.
down. Oh yeah, it's not necessarily up to me, is it now?
Neither one of you hears Sandy's voice.
Okay, cool.
You see Colin go pale, even though he's blushed, and you see him mask. And you heard him ask to boss man Rowan Everly, "Hey, you know Sandy? This is kind of urgent," and that sort of tone.
Okay.
And he did say, "She's in my mind."
Okay.
And he also warned you all, "Hey, there might be an invader," because that was one of the first things he did. Like panic, make sure that everyone's safe.
How you doing, buddy?
Yes.
I'm currently negotiating with somebody to not invade your minds. I'm not succeeding. There's a Mokavian named Sandy that can see you two.
Ooh.
Okay.
Sorry, please, Amanda, feel free to go first.
No, Darling is just like, is she nice? Is she?
She's a Mokavian.
ST, I know this is probably completely and utterly ineffective. The moment Charles hears, "I'm failing to keep them out of your mind," Colin, you'll see his entire mind scape shudder, and Charles, you can see several thoughts burst out of the box, and they all just say, "Not again, not again, not again, not again." And Charles tries his best to fortify his defenses. May I make a roll to resist mental intrusion?
You know what? Sure. Go ahead and give me a fortify the inner facade.
Absolutely.
Hi, I am your guide. I'm your GUIDE to the inside.
Only Colin hears that, though, right?
Correct.
This reminds me of a movie that came out a few years ago.
Oh, which one?
Inside Out. I think they made a sequel. He mutters to himself.
Did.
Okay. Well, if I can't get you out of my head necessarily, what are you here to guide me with? And what help are you offering?
Oh, you are aware of the cobweb, aren't you?
Hey, boss. Either boss. No. No, unless it's something I brush off my face.
Malkavian can talk to each other. Almost
I'm not a
everyone in the
Malkavian.
clan of the moon can be heard by one another at all times. Isn't that nice?
He thinks it he thinks in his head before he can stop himself. I think I'd go crazy. And then like goes ooh in his head after thinking that.
Yes. But
Well
it's
done,
also
G'day.
a good way to learn how to use what you have from people who are older or younger or better vested.
But
Uh,
and hear me out. What if they don't have my best interests in heart and I don't know them?
Oh, you're not open to the entire cobweb, silly. Just me.
Oh,
Well, and technically Mix LeClaire
what?
and Violet,
Who?
and Wendy Darling,
Why?
um, well, because the Malkavians have the cobweb. That's how they can learn the things.
But she's a Tremere.
Well, yes, and you're sticky.
Yes, I am. I can be. Yes, I fully admit this. So, but the problem is, two of the people you've mentioned, and I don't know who Violet is. Are they in Phil? Never mind. One thing at a time. All right. So I need you
They
to stay
will
with
be
me.
soon.
Okay. It, one thing at a time. Right. I'm not Malkavian, and neither is Mix LeClaire. Therefore, how are they part of the cobweb?
They aren't. They're part of the Oracle net. It's so upsetting that the other folks who walk a seer's path don't have that sort of extra education. So I connect them all together.
You seem very confident that I'm part of OracleNet.
You see
I
the
mean,
ago. You opened the door. I just
Okay.
came in where I was invited. Billy.
I'm sorry, Book. Your faces are just killing me. I am going to take this moment to say, yeah, no, Charles, your mind palace snap shut, shutters, doors, locks. It just snapped
with
shut.
with 11 critical successes.
Fuck me dead.
Yeah,
Colin,
11 successes with a critical. Yeah, that will.
sure, you literally watch the factory collapses in on itself, and in a moment, you are in a picturesque living room. You hear a child faintly crying behind a doorway, and you see a shadow of a man reading a book next to a fireplace, and there is nothing else in the mindscape.
Oh, he's good. He could do with a little more learning, though. But I don't think he sees.
So, um, at this point, Sandy, it would occur to you that you have spooked one of your new students,
Fuck.
prospective students.
Oh, no. They're not supposed to get scared.
No, I do that a lot. I do that a lot. That's
Is
like
it the
my
glitter?
90%. Sorry, mysterious voice in my head named Sandy. Also, would you be willing to get out of Charles's head? He's kind of upsetty spaghetti.
I'm not the one joining us together. He doesn't
Can you
see.
still see in his head?
Oh, no. He's good.
Hey, ST, whichever one. She has no facial expression. She has no body language. How would I even detect subterfuge for an insight if I don't have
I
anything to work off of?
I can
Because I
give
want to
you
know.
a storyteller bone. There's no subterfuge here.
Interesting.
From tone of voice to natural responses, like you've dealt with your fair share of liars. And it is almost as though lying does not occur to this voice.
The word Seafra pops across my head for a second, and then he
It-
tries and clamps it down.
It
Uh,
very
it-
much reminds you of Sifra, yes.
Interesting. I dislike other people in my head, but fair enough. I will get used to it.
I was invited.
He makes that face in his head and starts to talk in his head and stops. All right. He boops over to Charles. I think you're clear. So long as you keep these barriers up, do what you can to message me. So long as I keep the link up, she can see both of you. But right now, she cannot see everything, Charles.
The figure on the couch or sitting on the by the fireplace just nods their head slowly, and there is no other activity in the mind.
Okay. Colin will take that and accept and be happy that Charles doesn't just boot him flat out. All right, Sandy, Miss Newton County. Do you have anything you need to say to me right now? Because I'm about to go somewhere with my friends.
You're gonna visit Wendy.
Did you know that, or did you read that in my head? Don't give me a mathematician's answer, please.
Wendy's in here too, or can be.
Which one?
Wendy, darling.
No, I mean, god damn it. All right, Malkavian. So, Wendy, and he says that in his head.
It does not appear as though you're getting any response from Wendy Darling. But the
You can-
answer from Sandy is that she's here and then corrects herself and says that she can be. So not that she is currently here, but that she has the ability to be here.
Except she was just here. Okay, but cool. Is she gone for now? Can I feel when she's there?
That is technically chalked up to I believe some technical difficulties on Giday's end.
Cool.
Because
Perfectly
they just
understandable.
dropped completely out of the studio altogether.
Is it cool if I can say to Charles, shit's clear?
Yes. At this point, Sandy seems to quiet down a bit and say, okay, I won't peek. And you feel that voice kind of retreat, almost as if they're shuffling off into the darkness.
Clear.
The conveyor belt.
But he says it.
The conveyor belt returns, but the rest of the room is still a living room space.
I send over a threat profile that I start working up of Malkavian, Cobweb, OracleNet, and it just goes in the same. So I know you could describe literally what I sent to you guys when I did my note of bottom line up front, the whole shebang. He prints that out in his head. Colin has a whiteboard in his head, like detectives have on a wall, and he has a booklet. That book has to have, but Colin can do that with his many dots of insight and profiling in his head, and it's in code until he ciphers it. So he just prints that shit off to both of them.
Charles.
So-
Oh yes, I was just gonna say Charles just speaks out loud, and he is noticeably a little more flush, and he looks just tiny bit hungrier, and he says, "We have a night to get to. I think we've spent enough time palling around in each other's heads, haven't we?"
As Sandy promises not to peek and kind of shuffles off deeper into the oracle net. You find yourself being stared at by Rowan. You okay there, buddy?
Colin looks at him and then does like the start of Collining, and then he goes, "No, no, boss." God damn it. Sorry, Charles.
We'll debrief later, but for now, let's get you guys over to Neverland because I can't imagine that the Primogen and Whip like to be kept waiting.
No.
Absolutely.
Yeah, boss.
Can I do an alchemy? And I don't suppose you
Uh,
guys have any blood bags lying around.
We might have a couple in cold storage,
Thanks.
but help yourself.
Thanks. Guys, I don't know if you still want to try.
Fuck. Yeah.
I would love nothing more than to have a clear mind right now. Let me know when you are ready. And I do thank you for this.
Yeah, of course. I can skip the extraneous role play of it, but Darlene is going to try to get a moment of clarity for all three of them.
Okay.
There is one thing that I do have to ask is Colin.
Yeah, what's up?
Does he have to drink from her, or can it like be cut across her palm and he can take like drink down her arm?
As long as you are consuming the vitae of
Okay.
the alchemist, you should be fine.
We're cool.
All right. Okay, I will roll 3 rouse checks and
So
hopefully.
I am not the ST, but I do believe how it works is that you roll 1 rouse check to activate the power, and then the afterwards is you just automatically lose hunger when we drink from you. Is that correct?
Yes.
God damn, I could have done this after the alchemy and had 4 extra dice. Okay, never mind.
Oh, it's all right. Everything will work out fine. All right, Box of Doom and
The good news is though, Charles gets his hunger back because he takes one from Darlene.
I'm happy to help.
Colin
Okay.
sends over just an "I am so sorry." Just a brief blip of that to fucking Charles. Yep. Nope. Perfectly understood. I wouldn't trust me either. Fuck.
So let's take.
Well,
Okay. Hunger remains unchanged. And let me just. So you can go ahead and roll out your moment of clarity.
all right. Guys, that Darlene freely and then, cheerfully offers her blood, and she's gonna get pretty fucking hungry. Excuse my French, I apologize. She'll be hungry because I
Right.
think it takes her down to hunger 4.
Did you pass the rouse check or fail?
I failed my rouse check for getting up for the morning. I passed my rouse check for the distillation.
In that case, Charles will offer his blood back, his vitae back to Darlene.
Okay.
Are you sure?
If you,
Aren't you going to be hungry?
I will, but you are the one who has to do the talking, and to
We've got
a,
bags in the back, right? Do we?
it's fine. I don't mind being a little hungrier. It's better that we, as a coterie, looking after each other is pragmatic. And that means making sure that you do not become overstarved, especially before we meet a Toreador. So
Oh, look,
if you would be
it's not
acceptable
because
to
we
it,
have bags in the back. It's just logistics. Like, I really appreciate it.
but yes, Charles will take a hunger and offer a hunger to Darlene. So he will remain at hunger 2.
First,
Okay.
we'll see how many blood bags are available.
Because you are the Meals on Wheels coterie, aside from the blood bags that you have to deliver to folks, you do have a small store of blood bags for yourself, enough that it would take you back down to hunger one if you tapped into them. But this is more of a stopgap measure and less of a thing that you can rely on all of the time.
Hey, if things go really haywire, I'll take you up on it.
Very well. Know
You-
that the offer is open and available. Charles will go
Okay.
down to Hunger One then, and have Moment of Clarity on him, and then he will go get to his car and prepare for the trip.
How long does Moment of Clarity last?
It's one scene, same as the telepathy link.
I might as well shotgun it now. He
Yeah.
pings over a bit of guilt, but does not offer his blood. He just gives a little bit of his emotions to the two of them, but Organivore. And
Darlene is very
Revolver.
reassuring.
And then he hits up he does the hit of Moment of Clarity. I believe I have 4 dice on future mental disciplines, and 4 dice to resist shenaniganry of people get in my head. Funny that, if only I had that earlier.
And a reminder, both Colin and Charles, we will need to roll our Wheel of Misfortune at the end of the session.
Yes, we will. That's gonna be
Exciting.
interesting. Thin Blood Alchemy! Not just for Thin Bloods, but it does have a cost.
But all right. So yes, we will have to roll our Wheel of Misfortune later on. But we have our Moment of Clarity on board for both of our for our Hekata and our Caitiff. Are we everybody ready for driving?
I
Charles
completely
is always
understand if
ready.
you want me to ride with Rowan.
Charles regards Colin and says, "Are you not coming?"
He comes along and thinks, I am kind of in his head, so fair enough. Being in the car is fine too.
Rowan meets you all down at the car, and as his phone buzzes, he looks down at it, grimaces. You guys got this. I gotta go take care of some things.
We'll be around. We'll call you if there's an emergency, boss.
Yeah, looks like no rest for the wicked. And he hops into instead of one of his tableau, mural vans, he hops into what looks like a work truck that says Sunshine Cleaners on the side,
This one I have seen
and
as well.
kind of takes off, kicking up a bit of dust from the parking lot. But you have been given the address of Neverland Art Collective. Rowan had made mention that you are expected. So we're all going to pile into Charles's nondescript beater car and head on over to the Neverland Art Collective. As you know what, actually, Charles, can you please give me a composure and drive?
Fuck.
I would absolutely love to. Composure drive. Would this be considered a mental skill discipline? Or a mental skill, rather. Is driving a mental skill or is driving a physical skill? I don't think driving's a
driving
social
is
skill.
No, driving is a physical skill.
Excellent. So Moment of Clarity does not impact this, but I will roll my dice regardless.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can't messy critical, so hey, I got that going for me.
Yeah.
So let's see. Okay, composure, drive. That's 8, 9, 10. That's
God, this gets added to my investigation too.
Yeah, it is great. Notes.
Damn.
Moment of Clarity is a pretty neat alchemy. I mean, they're
I
all
love-
pretty neat.
Damn, Darlene.
I love to be helpful.
Oh, all right. Well, you have
I don't
no
think I need to
issue.
willpower that.
He
Nah,
dropped.
you have no issue dealing with the traffic. It is heavy in some spots, light in others, but all said and done, the traffic does not get to you. It is like any other major city, just maybe a little bit more aggressive. But at the end of the day, nothing really doing. As you pull up outside of the Neverland Art Collective, you see what is best described as a neon lit temple to the arts. There is a combination of different architectural styles. Uh, there are some contemporary, some uh, Art Nouveau. It is as much a work of art itself as everything inside. There is a bright red, kind of almost looks like it's a tufted door that, as you walk up to and place your hand on, what you expect to feel as cushioning is actually molded stainless steel. So it only looks like it's soft and cushiony, but it is hard and cold beneath your hand. As you push open the door, you would see someone who's about your same height, wayfish blonde, currently dressed in one of those old-timey widow's robes. And he looks at the three of you, long-stemmed cigarette holder in hand, takes a small drag. Oh, you're the guests. Come in, come in, come in.
Thank you so much for having us. This literally means so much. This place is beautiful.
Good
And
evening.
as each of you enter into the building, he leans in and gives you that very European cheek kiss. Just invading the space, just those that air kiss on either cheek.
Darling gives it
Welcome.
right back.
Welcome to the Neverland Art Collective. I am Laurent. If you'd like, I can take you to meet Primogen Darling.
We bought a present. I hope you don't mind. It's
Presents.
don't
I
feel bad if you don't use it. But like we're
I
really just so
love
grateful.
gifts.
Hmm?
I love gifts.
And kind of like to the guys is like, help me. I can't move this thing very well, please.
Colin
Charles
relays
and
that.
Colin helped to move it.
Thank you, testosterone. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you.
Fuck.
And there it is. It's the pedestal. It's understated, not something that's going to draw attention to itself.
With a surprising amount of ease, Laurent will pick this pedestal up with one hand and regard it, looking it over.
There's a
And-
panel where you can control the lights if you're wanting something lower.
Oh, this is
It also has
this
another
is so cute. Very kitsch. I love it. And he'll set it off to the side with every intention of coming back to retrieve it, but he looks at the three of you. Please come follow me. And he'll turn around and you will hear the click of high heels as he moves through the marbled floors of the Neverland Art Collective. As you
Telepathically, Darlene is thinking, he moves better in those than I do. He moves better in those than I ever did.
I'm just typing in my chat. Book makes a face, but Colin is cool. Ignore Book. Colin's business and a little rattled, but Book can shut TF up about thoughts.
Charles
But,
is keeping things very careful and just basically hanging by Darlene's shoulder to support her if she needs anything, but is otherwise letting Darlene take the lead.
Colin walks just watching for security along with Darlene and is in front of Charles in case of problems.
So as you move through the art collective, you see various pieces of art, um, predominantly sculptures and paintings. These paintings are almost photorealistic in their composition, and the marble sculptures are exquisite. The detail is immaculate down to the pores of the flesh, the wrinkles in the knuckles, the creases around the eyes. It is almost as though someone transformed an individual into stone. The that is how high the level of detail is here. Um, but the big giveaway is that you can tell the hair, facial hair on masculine figures or the hair on feminine figures is in fact carved. Uh, they don't seem to lay there like individual strands. But as you are ushered through the halls of the Neverland Art Collective, through this labyrinth of exquisitely painted uh, scenes from what you can expect from throughout what you expect to see from throughout the city. People that you may or may not have met. There are faces that seem familiar in scenes that do not. Oftentimes from the point of view of somebody who is present. But as you weave through these hallways, you find yourselves in what looks to be a large art studio. Easels and canvases are set up all around. There are various uh, paint trays and palettes that are stationed around at each of the canvases. And all the way in the back of the room, you see a tall, slim redhead who is hard at work on one of the canvases. And you'll hear Laurent clear his throat. Wendy, darling, we have guests.
Oh, guests. Guests, you said.
Yes, thank you so much for having us over. We really appreciate it.
Good evening, Primogen, Wendy, darling.
Primogen Wendy, darling. Charles Pacifico of the Meals on Wheels coterie. These are my coterie mates.
Oh. Well, hello. You
Hello.
are you are our keeper's coterie. Yeah?
Yes, Keeper of Elysium.
Which means that you are the individual going to assist with our club. And her gaze is on Charles.
Oh boy. Charles smiles politely and says, We are, of course, a humble servant of the city, as by the oath we've taken, and we would be honored to hear and listen to whatever request you all have, and of course, do our best to do what we can. If you would like to put it before us, we are here with open ears and helping hands, hopefully.
Colin
That's
sends a
good.
ping.
Oh, go ahead.
Colin sends a ping across both of them and says, "Reminder that we're hooked. If you need anything or to relay anything through Talkie Man, hit me up." Charles, when you have the opportunity, would you be willing to ask this woman if she's ever heard of someone named Sandy who likes to invade people's minds? And he sends the threat profile over again. It's important to both of us right now.
You get an affirmative thought, an affirmative nod from the mindscape.
All you, boss.
But of course, before he asks any questions, it would be rude to not let the in his head. You actually do get a conversation back, and in your head, you get a voice back that simply says, "It would be rude to interrupt the Primogen. She should have her chance to present her answer to us, and she will probably open it up for questions afterwards." And Charles smiles and waits for Wendy Darling to speak her piece.
Mrs. Sexton said that your specialty is sociability.
I have been blessed with many experiences that have allowed me to develop my talents in understanding how to navigate the social battlefield, let us call it.
Oh, and he's a modest one too. Come on, don't be shy, kitten. We won't bite unless you ask real nice.
Thank God
Colin
Charles
pings
got
over to the
that
both of
composure.
them. The game begins.
Yep. You feel Charles is like the figure in the chair in his mind leans in as they lock in.
Gamer
he-
position on.
And Darlene gets just a little bit closer to Charles too, just like
He smiles and he says, "Well, I tend to find that when you are speaking of one's martial capabilities, it doesn't, they say that you should always present yourself as your lowest capability so that you can pleasantly surprise others. I simply take the same to my social capability. Though I have heard equal things from the both of you, not in your modesty, I mean to say your talent as roses of the court. I've only heard that you two are competent and skilled in maneuvering the great battlefield, so I am honored to be in the presence of those far my senior."
And Laurent will look over at Wendy, and he's a charmer too.
Colin in his head. Nice.
Well, yes. Keeper Sexton had mentioned that she had broached the idea to you,
Yes. Yes.
and an educational opportunity for the rest of our city.
As I said then in my response letter, and as I will gladly now say again, I would be honored to assist. I have known this city to be very generous with its compensation, and as such, I'd be happy to leverage my services in order to help make sure that everyone knows the proper way to speak and be spoken to. After all, what is a court if everyone doesn't know how to act courtly? No?
Could not agree more.
Probably a more honest one.
Hmm.
However, not all combat can be faced with explosives, now can it?
Darlene, Colin sends a chuckle over to Darlene as the two of them are like, fucking bet.
Charles smiles and says, "Every tool has a purpose. I think that while a more honest city is good in many facets, well, an overindulgence in honesty can easily allow people to justify rudeness and hostility that could otherwise be dealt with a few honeyed words. Flies and vinegar, as they say.
Now I understand why she chose them.
Charles will teach a pretty great cotillion, I think.
Are you aware that your clothing is coated in pink glitter?
Who is she speaking to?
Colin?
Colin looks down.
You can see pink glitter.
Hey,
Charles?
boss,
Darlene, you cannot.
Okay, you do. Charles glanced out of the corner of his eye, and you get the mental word back of, there is no glitter on you to my eyes. And he does specify to my eyes because he has already clocked what's probably happened. And he knows Colin's smart enough to probably clock the same.
Yeah.
Darlene has not clocked it. She's like, what pink glitter?
Bless.
Laurent seems to have the same expression on his face, like, pink glitter, what do you... Oh.
Interesting. Interesting as well. Okay. It is interesting that you mentioned that. I had a sensation, strangely, of pink glitter not an hour ago. You wouldn't have to know more about that, would you? He sends over to Charles. Jump in if I start saying bad shit that is unadvantageous to the coterie.
Charles quickly fucking, like, as soon as Colin sends the thought, in like a katana slicing through a watermelon, Charles says, we were informed by the voice that you were acquainted with them. They had friendly relationships with Colin, and Colin simply means to inquire that it sounds like the two of you have something in common now to discuss.
Don't we just? Thanks. Voice in my head, Philly by night. Yes. Straight up, yes. He knows his lane.
Do we really make you so nervous?
Charles can think at the speed of thought. Colin hears suddenly, so the facade actually lifts a little bit, so you can see Charles in the light of the fireplace as he tragically has to lift his defenses so his voice can be heard inside Colin's mind. And it says, "They're a rose. You have to think about what they want out of this. They don't want to harm you. They're teasing you, poking you, trying to understand you. Calm down a minute. Use your insight. You are more social than you think you are. Read them, understand them, and the response you must give will be clear, Colin."
I would like to throw potentially resolve or wits, your choice, insight with an assist dice and a delicious +4 from our resident thin blood, Darlene Lewis.
You know what? Yeah, go ahead. Roll
Would
that
that
beautiful
be-
bean footage.
Wits or resolve?
We're going to call that, since you're trying, we're going to call it resolve and insight.
God, I love being me. God, I
Wits
love being
is-
competent.
Wits is kind of what you notice. Resolve is you're looking. Think
Holy
of like
fuck.
think of wits as like your peripheral vision, and resolve is the center of your vision.
Yeah, I'm not specialized in this. I'm rolling 11. Fuck me dead. Thank you, you two.
So we'll start
What?
with Wendy.
Yeah. I'm gonna screen cap that. You know
that
what?
is
Fuck it. Willpower. I got 3
That-
equity rolls.
okay.
Hell yeah.
12.
every-
and
That is
12.
12 successes with a critical.
Fucking shit.
So-
Teamwork OP.
Tell me, Wendy, darling, what Colin would be noticing as far as insight goes for Wendy.
This is a woman who, in all appearances, is perfectly put together. Not surprising for a Toreador, especially not for a Toreador Primogen. This woman is dressed as if for a gallery opening. There is not a hair out of place, but there is a strange little peak of blue-purple scarring that leads into the eye patch she wears over one eye.
Uh-huh.
She is also very clearly, at least to you, trying to be in more than one place at the same time. It seems as though for her, a journey into the Mind Palace is something that requires a large amount of her attention. So she cannot quite be at full force while she is in conversation. Colin might also notice tiny flecks of paint on her hands near the base of her nails, on the underside of her wrist. A drip, a drop, a splash behind one ear. Places where, upon first glance, there is no paint. But as you continue to look closer and utilize insight, this perfectly presented individual is a facade not quite worthy of your friend Mr. Pacifico.
100% sharing. And for the other member of the Roses,
While while at first blush, Laurent looks like
blush.
one of those old-timey starlets who is unwinding before bed. This is, like all things, a carefully crafted costume. His hair is immaculately slicked back. The underpinnings underneath the robe just barely visible and just scandalous enough to draw your eye to his physique, which, like the statues that dot the Neverland Art Collective, seem chiseled from stone. This this is an individual who takes extreme care every single time he presents himself. Everything about him is carefully crafted, curated, meticulously detailed. The color of his eyes are it almost looks like they are there to be appealing to as broad an audience as possible. His cheekbones, there is an uncanny symmetry to his face. It is as though this man himself was sculpted to be physically perfect. And yes, he does have stunning.
Hey, boss, with those 12 successes and with Colin's history and a favor owed for his own being flesh crafted, except in the reverse of not being attractive in a punishment, would that have any dings in his head with his perfectly symmetrical cheekbones and his eyes that are designed to be appealing, his designer eyes?
It would strike you that there are aspects of this individual that seem crafted.
With
Like,
limited partial sharing, with I have experience in flesh crafting, but not the whole story.
right.
Boop that shit over to both of them, as well as the previous threat profile for Darlene. Just everything.
Charles devours this like a meal inside of his mind, and
Interesting.
says, and you get a quick speed of thought voice back that just says, "All right, don't leave her waiting for too long. But now you know. You must speak to them, understanding that this is a performance, a presentation. Match their perfection with your own. Don't worry about how long you take. Choose every word methodically. Let them know that you understand the game they're playing and that you
Um,
can play along.
I am going to, for purposes of etiquette with the roses, I am going to grant the coterie a 1 die bonus for their teamwork.
Yeah.
Please make sure you thank your insightful coterie mate and your
Thank you for the 5
etiquette
dice.
and your etiquette chief, Mr. Pacifico, for this is a big boost to your teamwork. Uh, Everybody is pulling their weight here. But yes, Wendy and Laurent, while Wendy is more of the crafting is in the hair, the makeup, the outfit. Laurent seems crafted head to toe, like he was spit out of a doll factory.
Darlene to them. Okay, so whatever illusion they're trying to present to you, believe it. Just like play into it.
We
Just
walked onto
play like you
we
believe
walked
it.
onto their stage.
Is it vicissitude? Is it like Tsunitsu
It
stuff? Is
doesn't.
it
We can investigate later. For the
okay?
moment now, we must play the game as we know it. And he allows Colin to speak and respond to Wendy.
I appreciate the beauty that you've both shown us. I admire how you look, and I appreciate the different viewpoints, especially after an hour ago, that I've seen in walking past the paintings. What Primogen Wendy, darling. What I've seen here makes me think in ways I'm not used to. It is beautiful and unique, and a new experience.
That is, after all, the magic of Neverland.
The paintings, the paintings and the glitter. It was a clue. It was a clue. It was a sign. It. Mm,
Sign of what?
Sandy, you beautiful. And she's just going to toddle off.
As she takes her leave, Charles bows and says, "We thank you for your time, Primogen Wendy, darling."
Oh, I'll be right back. I have something for you. I have a picture of you. And at the I have a picture of you, her eyes are solidly on Darlene.
Colin boots
As
over to
Oh,
Charles. I improvised. How'd I do? Fuck.
Yeah, you get a mental thumbs up. Like you get the biggest mental thumbs up from
Sure,
Charles,
fuck
and
it.
then Charles puts his hands over his mouth and says, "Help, Darlene."
as
Colin, I'm gonna also give you this. You might know from your poking around. Darlene doesn't know what an oracle is. Y'all have been saying that word. She kind of knows. It's like a fortune teller. Darlene does not know what an oracle is or what an oracle position is. But she's like, oh, this.
I boop.
We have
first thing I do-
utilitarian surroundings. We're not really. We don't see a lot of beauty where we are. This is
that's
nice.
such a shame. I'll have to if you don't mind, we'll send over some art for your I assume you all have a coterie haven?
We do. That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Excellent. I'll coordinate with your shadow and we'll get some pieces sent over.
Oh
Something to
my goodness. I
brighten some
appreciate
things
that so
up.
much.
But
Thank you.
and he'll turn and look at Charles. So, brass tacks, we're putting together something of a, well, many cities call it many different things. Tongue lashings, etiquette club, speech and debate. But a chance for the kindred of the city to get together and sharpen their wit against one another. Friendly competition, no disciplines, no sneaky sneakies. Uh, But you, I must confess, Mr. Pacifico, your reputation does precede you a little bit. I am wondering if you would be interested in being one of our instructors.
I would be most honored. I feel there is the greatest degree of understanding to be gained through teaching, and I'm sure there are many who could take advantage of it.
There are, unfortunately, one too many dullards in this city, and a mind needs a sturdy challenge like a sword needs a whetstone. There are so many that are proficient in the martial arts, and I feel as though I echo the prince's sentiment that on occasion the social graces seem to suffer a bit.
I will also speak in full honesty that I consider that a delightful start. After all, it's much like carving a statue, is it not? If the material is perhaps unusually formed, most of the times it presents a unique challenge, but well, a well sculpted body can lead to a beautiful final picture. Every muscle carved to perfection. That's what makes someone unique and special.
There is a smile that plays across Laurent's lips. See, I like you, Mr. Pacifico. It's not just the honey words, it's the insight, it's the experience that has formed your opinions. And reach into he'll reach into the robe. There doesn't seem to be any pockets where he is reaching, but he produces three black, what look to be like credit card sized cards that just have a gold foil GP embossed on the front of them, and hands one to each of you.
Oh, thank
These
you.
are, of course, these are VIP passes to my club, Guilty Pleasures. This will give you full access to our facilities and allow you a chance to familiarize yourself with the surroundings before we begin our uh, etiquette club proper. I
Oh
will
gosh.
I will give you a bit of proper warning if you've never been to a lifestyle club. They can be a bit overwhelming at first.
Darlene does not know what a lifestyle club is.
Is the
Colin
confusion
shoots
obvious
over
on
in Colin shoots over in his head exactly what a lifestyle club is. Because he knows.
uh
The images go on.
the clarifying, yes, you get the full download that a lifestyle club is where people go to do all sorts of freaky things.
Can Kindred even do that, bro? I thought they just.
Is
There's
that
a
out
lot
loud?
of different
Nope.
Okay.
There's a lot of different things we can do that don't require sex. Trust me, Darlene.
I trust you.
Okay, that was a little fast for me, but sure. Thank you. I appreciate it. Momentary uncomfortable that shut off.
Yeah. Charles smiles, bows, and says, I will enter as a guest and treat it with all the respect that it deserves. Thank you. I
I've never-
understand what this means. And to speak outside the honeyed river, it has been an honor to speak with you. It is so nice to converse with someone who speaks the same language.
It is a delight, Mr. Pacifico. And I encourage you all, when we do have our grand opening gala, we'll be hosting a leather and lace night. So please feel free to dress up in your finest leather and or lace and accept my invitation as honored guests.
Gosh, I've never been to one of these. This will be fun.
I found the portrait. I found it.
Oh, wonderful. Oh. And he'll look at the portrait, look at Darlene, look back at the portrait. Exquisite as always, dear cousin.
I had one of you too, but it turned into soup.
I take it I know who she's addressing.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
The painting, interesting. I appreciate that you made it and were thoughtful enough to create beauty, even temporarily, of me. He boops over to Charles. I'm making this up as I go along, man.
You're getting a backpack. Your insight serves you well. Perhaps we can work on your delivery, but you found the right words. Excellent work, Colin. You learn fast.
How I
And
lived.
she will turn the portrait so that the Meals on Wheels coterie can see it. And Darlene, you know those people. There are 3 individuals in the portrait crying happy tears. You are one of them. Your friend Bailey is the second. And Lacey is the third. The emotion coming from this painting is accurate. You can look at this and see a memory of what occurred just a couple nights past.
If you need me to relay anything to her, now's the time. He just sends that to Charles.
And like mentally, she's like, what do I do?
She's asking what to do.
What
You're
do I-
muted.
What do I
You're
do?
muted. You must talk. You're muted.
No! Charles,
What do I
fortify. You get a voice back that just says,
What?
"It's a performance,
No one's supposed
and
to
you've
know.
been
No one's
shown
supposed to know.
a
How do
piece."
they know? How do they know?
You say thank you.
Say
You cannot
thank you.
change that they already know, Darlene. You cannot change that this has already happened, but we can plan, we can adapt, and we can overcome. Accept it with all the grace you can, all the love you can feel, and be gracious. And tonight, we will work together to figure out what our next step is.
Colin gives it word for word. He awkwardly sends a mental image of his slime, his negative self-talk look of himself, his mental self, awkwardly hugging Darlene and also offering, "You got this. I'm beside you." So's Charles. You can do this. It's a performance. Trust Charles.
There is a moment where if anyone looks over at Laurent, you will see him just draw his finger across his lips and turn it ever so slightly, as though he's sealing his lips and throwing away the key.
I'm guessing we all caught
The
that, but
word-
probably Cotton also
yeah.
caught that with his
The
12
word leverage passes around the
Son of a
the
whore.
mental loop.
Colin nods.
Charles,
Colin does something drastic. He reaches over. I'm paid to do a job. I will do it perfectly. This is part of who he is. Colin squeezes Darlene's hand reassuringly, and that took a lot out of him.
She squeezes back
Oh,
like the world's gonna bottom out from underneath her, and you are the last bit of scaffolding that she has.
Colin
Charles
scoot-
has enough time for one
Beautiful,
more thought,
but-
I think, before Wendy speaks up, and he's going to pass to Colin to pass to Darlene. The longer you wait, the more she understands the significance of this memory.
word for word.
I never thought that I would be able to see the happiest moment of my life from an outsider's perspective. It's perfect.
Darlene, I'm going to need you to roll for that manipulation and subterfuge, darling.
All right.
Can she get any bonuses? Would assist? Fucking moment of clarity?
This is a social, not a
This
mental.
is a social skill.
Fuck! The extra +1 from earlier with etiquette and knowing roses?
Not an etiquette roll.
Yeah.
So
I think the only thing we could potential is, could Charles's words count as an assist dice? That's I think the only thing we've got.
I'm gonna leave that one up to G'day.
Yes, I would
Oh.
allow the forewarning to serve as an assist dice.
You
All
got
right,
this.
then. Yep. You got that 1 dice blood surge. You got this, darling.
All right. Yeah.
Oh god, right. You're a thin blood. Fuck.
Yeah. That's a dice pool of 3.
Oh no!
With is that with the blood surge or without the blood surge?
With the blood surge.
Okay.
blood
And with the assist
There's no
dice?
subterfuge. There's no subterfuge. There's 2 dots of manipulation and no dots of subterfuge.
Okay.
The word
So you get
leverage
1 from the
rattles
blood
around in my
surge and
brain.
1 from the assist. So that's 4 dice total.
Okay.
Mm.
She will burn a willpower if she may.
Yeah. You can burn a willpower.
Fuck. I believe in you. Do it.
About as good as you could have done.
That's 3 successes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Due to the sheer numbers associated with that dice roll, because it's making me laugh at 666 being your successes. I am not going to make that bestial failure. Bestial?
Are you also under
but-
moment of clarity?
I mean, have fun with it. Have fun with
You are, but you are not a liar.
it.
And with 3 dice, there is at least one person in this room for whom you could not make the difficulty at all. Oh. Oh, I see. You don't. You don't like it. It's for you. Nobody has seen it yet. I painted it last night. I had the vision, and then it's for you. And
You had the what?
look, the roll.
Let's get this wrapped up for you. Wendy, my dear cousin, has the gift of the sight. She can see things that have happened, will happen, are happening, but at a distance. Much like Oracle Leclerc, she actually served on the former court, but has now graciously put her skills to use for Prince Sexton. And we'll get this wrapped up for you, and you can do with it as you please, but as a kindness, that information will not leave this room, nor will
Hey.
it cross my lips.
Does my insight believe him or not? Or would you like me
He's-
to reroll?
I'm going to give you this one, Colin, just for the sheer amount of successes that you had. This man is not. There is a tonal shift where he went from, playful and flirty to almost like a dad. where he's genuinely trying to put Darlene at ease. There is a reason why the prince allowed these particular roses to remain in his city, regardless of his distaste for their clan.
Cautiously, Colin evaluates and double checks himself with what he knows, and then sends it over the grapevine. The small web.
Yeah. The only note Charles sends through is to be passed to Darlene, which is just a Colin thinks it's fine. The offering of a trivial could potentially tie up any loose feelings, but if you're confident, and I am confident in Colin's findings, it may not be necessary. I leave that to your discretion, Darlene.
Should it be more? Should it be more than a trivial? I don't.
You get the thought back. They
I'm
don't.
sorry.
If they don't, it is all you're asking is for them. They've given a gift. The trivial is simply a thank you for the fact that they have already promised to keep the information. You are not asking them to keep the information. You are offering a trivial as your thanks, which enshrines what has already been offered.
And it goes back over. I'm just doing these hand signs.
Okay.
But
And
they're all
it's called a trivial, or
Yes,
Called a trivial.
just
It's called a trivial. It was a trivial to Dillard. It was a trivial to the other guys. It's trivial to you. You got it.
okay.
Squeeze. Colin feels a shiver and he touch. Do it for the coterie, Colin.
Colleen can relay the words if Darlene needs them. Charles will just spit out. Thank you. He'll just say the words. I appreciate your offer to keep this silent. I offer a trivial as my thanks for your offer so that you understand my deep appreciation for it.
Straight over.
I appreciate your silence. I offer a trivial as a
And Laurent will hold up his hand as he takes the painting over to a counter and begins to wrap it in brown paper, tying the twine in a very careful bow before setting it down and walking back over. It would be rude for a whip to allow the perception that I extorted a boon from you to float around the city. After all, rumors are powerful. I can see it
Colin.
upsets you. I do not wish to upset you further. After all, we all have to work together. This is simply a gift for you from my dear cousin, one that only the individuals in this room know about. If the information becomes public, please feel free to bring it to the court's attention so that they may properly punish me for being an oathbreaker.
Colin is watching him play the game and then sends it over to Charles. Can you think of ways just off the cuff of your head that he could, words as spoken, get around that?
Charles sends back an instant thought of his performance was exceptional. If I were not a cynic, I would say that he has given us the most generous terms I've ever seen. Because I am a cynic, he has ensured and enshrined trust and cooperation between us, as we would be absolute idiots to not turn back this kindness towards him, considering what he has now offered. We can end this here.
That's
the deed
how I
is
saw
done.
the game too.
The gift is made.
I would like a wits and insight across the board. And
Delicious mental.
Colin, I would
Hi.
like you to add 3 dice.
Why, yes, but why, if I may ask without it going away?
You do have a passenger up there in that noodle.
Oh God,
And
she's
your
still there.
passenger is familiar with this woman.
Sure. Oh God, she's still there. As soon as I find that out, I'll be notifying you, but I don't think I know yet. So
She's around, but she's not peeking.
okay.
Like, you could
Colin
reach out to
amends.
her, but she's not actively looking at y'all.
Okay. So with a bonus of 7 dice.
And moment of clarity, I think, would apply to insight for Darlene. All right.
It's yes, wits.
Yes, indeed.
Let's see that bean footage. 12. One, two, three, four, 6. I could do more. I'll go to 4. I'll go to 4.
I don't suppose I could burn a willpower to
You can
that was
absolutely burn a willpower.
7.
Boy,
it
the dice
was so
bot is
worth it.
hungry tonight.
It was so worth it. It's fine.
That's 2 for Darlene, 6 for Charles, 7 for Colin.
Yes. No crit this time. This time, but yes.
This woman has essentially frozen, and yes, you are operating at the speed of thought, but Laurent is not. Charles, this woman looks like she is in terror for her life. Colin, you get a little additional bit of insight because it appears your passenger is a passenger of hers as well. And you can almost hear the panic immediate in Wendy's thoughts. It was a bad vision. 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 And they're going to punish me. They're going to punish me. I'm going to lose my other eye. I'm going to lose my other eye. I'm going to lose my other eye.
Ma'am? Fuck, that was probably wrong, but he did it anyways. It is declared. And then a second later, Primogen Wendy, darling, thank you very much for your gift. Knowledge, while not immediate power, is power nevertheless. I thank you for what you've given me. It was helpful. I am still learning. Things are interesting. And I thank you for broadening my knowledge. He boops over what he's got because he had to move fast, but he boops over after a second to Charles and Darlene, and then he goes, back me up if you've got anything extra, quick.
You hear like the 3 seconds of screaming in your mind of when you went ma'am before it like silences as you cut.
I'm so sorry. He just says, I made it up, okay? I did what I could.
Charles doesn't jump in immediately. He lets Wendy respond to it because too much over discussion is a bad idea. Wendy now has the ball in her court.
Colin fouls it away. And he gives a thumbs up and also a sorry. Fuck.
I can't help what I see. I can't.
And at this point, Laurent will move over to Wendy and kind of.
We lost Darlene.
Yeah, we did.
Sure, she'll jump back in.
Colin will, or Laurent will clutch Wendy to his chest and kind of give her a there pat.
Yeah. Charles speaks after the moment of comfort and says, "You must forgive our trepidation. I can see that there is a great deal of history. Art is made from, of course, memories and the things that, well, have made us who we are. Wendy, darling, allow me to speak on behalf of my coterie, that the promises you have made have assuaged our fears to any knowledge that this was an act of malice, or that what you meant as a gift was taken as anything else. The previous administration is one none of us want to see repeated. We represent the Keeper of Elysium, and she wants to see that the mistakes of the past are never repeated. We learn from our history, and we make something new. And we understand that you are attempting to build something new. And so consider this a formal statement that all is well between us. Can we be agreed?"
Laurent is still protectively clutching Wendy. There is no malice on his face. In fact, there is one of almost sadness. You'll have to excuse my cousin's outburst. Prince Sexton's dream is new, and as adherents to it, we are still growing accustomed to living without fear of the jihad in this city.
That can be well understood. Then allow us to be a bridge between a new dream and your current Neverland. If ever you require anything, the Meals on Wheels delivers more than just blood throughout the city. We deliver knowledge, we deliver understanding, and we deliver the things we learn from our shadows who hold the ear of those of power. Never, ever hesitate to call on us if it is that you feel a need to take the ear of those above or to have something helped with that would concern the city. I have seen here today that you represent something that I want to see flourish in this city. That is my offer to you all, and one I am sure my coterie would agree with me, Charles says, not revealing that they are all mentally linked, as he gestures for them if they wish to nod their head in agreement.
As you
Darling looks
said-
like she looks like she's trying to speak. Nothing comes out, and she just nods.
Squeeze his hand. Gets a little bit easier each time. Still sucks. Cullen states, as you said before, Whip Laurent, I believe that we are happy to cooperate and keep things between everyone in this room. As you offered, so do I offer. I think everyone here is familiar with past leadership in their lives being disappointing. Thank you for believing. I look forward to more cooperation with everyone in this room in the future.
And he nods as he appears to press a soft kiss to the hairline of the primogen. And he whispers something to her before he looks back at the group. Which Wendy can hear what Laurent is whispering, i.e., I popped that in your DMs. But the rest of the coterie cannot because they are like right here with each other. I'm glad that there are those in the city that take this dream seriously. There are still some who are, and he kind of brushes Wendy Darling's hair to the side, recovering from the abuses of the past. And I greatly appreciate the gentleness you've shown my cousin this evening. If there is anything your coterie needs, please feel free to call on me, and I will reciprocate the kindness that you have shown us.
Hi,
Charles.
I'm really sorry, Ms. Lewis. I don't know anything. Just the picture. I don't know anything. I just know the picture. I only paint what I see. I'm so sorry.
Colin boops
No,
over to Darlene. I
didn't
believe
know.
you.
I really didn't.
It's
You.
It,
He
it's
boops
okay,
over to
sweet
Charles. Oh
cousin.
God, she's about to cry.
Yeah.
But, I mean-
Charles actually seems calm in his mind. He's willing to let the situation play out as it does.
Okay. Colin gives him a mental thumbs up and just squeezes Darlene's hand, but stays quiet for now. Fuck.
People have found out before, and
He'll look over at Darlene. I assume this is something that the prince is aware of?
yeah, yes, absolutely, yeah. Yes.
Okay. This is a good moment for us to check in with our players. How we doing, gang?
Big green thumbs up. Big green.
Excellent. Excellent.
Blue, Colin is not thrilled for multiple reasons. Book is having a time, y'all. A blobble wobble, as it were. This is one of the first blues I've used. Charles?
Yes, Colin.
Spy, what color are you currently? There was a check-in. There is a thing that we do.
Oh, sorry, I posted it in the chat.
He gave.
Oh,
Yeah,
sweet. Cool. I
we're
missed
good.
it. My bad.
Yes, Charles does speak into Colin's mind, and he says, "We have every promise of silence. While I am a master of dishonesty, dishonesty is a tool, as is honesty. I am a master of presenting things in the most favorable light. I trust in Miss Lewis's ability to speak from the heart. It is the one thing I fail at, that I can trust that she will always succeed in."
A practical but fucked up way. Congrats. Here we go. Collins shoots over and just gives him a chagrined thumbs up mentally.
Laurent would then look at Darlene.
I'm sure you're different. I'm sorry.
My clan has built a reputation for itself. Our clan. And he kind of looks over at Wendy before turning back to Darlene. I understand fear and trepidation. Trust me, as a survivor, I'm well aware. So long as this is not a matter that will hamper your ability to serve the city, and that His Grace is aware of the situation, I can tell you that we do not know the identity of these individuals, nor do I care to know the identity of these individuals. As a matter of fact, the less I know, the better. I find some information bears with it a modicum of unfortunate entanglement. Know that that is a gift for you. What you do with it when you leave these halls is your business and yours alone. Burn it for all I care. Destroy it. Hang it in a private place. Lock it in a safe. It is none of my concern. A friendly piece of advice, though. Perhaps take a lesson from Mr. Pacifico in how to better guard your emotional reactions. While many in while many in this city strive to uphold the dream, there are still elements that would pounce upon such a perceived weakness. And if you need any help, you have nothing to apologize for, Mrs. Lewis. Or Miss Lewis. You have nothing to apologize
I
for.
know.
It is. I remember how it was being so attached to what we once were. Emotions bubble to the surface frequently. And if there is any assistance I can give in shoring things up, you need only ask.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, now, Is there anything you require from us further this evening?
Colin sends
Charles,
a question mark to Charles. That's
yeah,
it.
Charles sends a note back. It was like there was nothing the harpy needed from them, correct? Charles is going back through his mental Rolodex.
Ditto. She doesn't trust him, is what I book recalls. And she wanted us to figure out more about him. But
Well.
also, we could read that she was prejudiced against him.
Yep.
But
Oh,
other
yeah.
than that,
Oh.
she wanted
In that
more
case-
information about the man.
Charles will, after what he's heard tonight, he will be delighted the fact that they have been given every authority. And I do remember that the harpy did not say that we could not talk about this request. Charles will smile.
devious-
Charles will send back, I do apologize. I think we've chosen our allies rather wisely, and as such, and he will relay what is obviously the plan to Colin, and he will say, what do you say we fulfill one request and ensure an alliance?
Colin straight up says, "You devious motherfucker," and in character this time. And sure, fuck it.
Charles smiles.
Let's see
and
what
he
happens.
Says, well, there is actually one more thing we would require of you, if you would have an extra moment. You see, the harpy has spoken to us that they would like to know more about you. That's one of the reasons they arranged this rendezvous, and we have learned a lot about you, but I don't think all of that would be present or good information to share with the harpy, what with the discussions we've had here tonight. So I was going to ask you if there's anything about yourself you'd like to share with the harpy, and we'd be happy to pass it back to them.
Laurent,
Colin just says, "You fascinating motherfucker."
at the mention of the harpy, Laurent's eyes roll so hard you can swear he sees brain.
Mhm.
Yes, the Chancellor Harold. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't trust that Austrian bitch as far as I could throw her.
Colin relays, "Hey, do you want us to ask if he wants us to relay that to her?"
Yeah, no, Charles will smile and say, is that the information you would like us to relay to her? Or was there something else that you think would be good information for her to have in her, well, mental sculpture of you, as it were? We find that the two of you have been more than agreeable and offered more than us enough that we feel it is only fair that you have the chance to paint your own picture in their mind.
Regardless of what the Chancellor Harold thinks of me, I am loyal to the prince, this city, and my clan in that order. If she wishes to know more about me, she may feel free to visit the Neverland Art Collective and ask me herself. After all, I'm sure someone of her position and education would be able to spot a falsehood a mile away.
What
Charles.
can I
Oh,
intimate
no, please,
from
Colin.
what can I intimate from that pregnant, thoroughly 9 months pregnant, and possibly a little bit over term pause on education? Because it felt like there was something attached to that.
He's basically calling her old.
Okay, fair.
Like
Yeah,
he's being nice about it, but he's calling her old.
Yeah, Charles smiles politely and says, I understand your implication, of course. In that case, I will ensure to relay to her the most surface level details. I will speak at length of your physique, your generosity, your loyalty to the prince and the dream, and of course, that you have the harpy has an open invite to arrive here. Now that we've made such a good impression, of course, I'm sure she will be overjoyed to know that she can come speak with you on her own later.
Oh, and do feel free to dwell on the physique for as long as you think you can get away with.
Motherfucker.
Charles bows respectfully and says, I have never been one to turn down a request.
Less a request and mm, more a best judgment situation. You seem perfectly capable.
Charles actually laughs, and it's the first time that sound has escaped his throat in a while, and he says, I am very thankful to meet others in the city with such a sharp sense of wit, insight, and etiquette. And I look forward to working with you to help hopefully teach some other people in the city how not just to speak the game, but to read the room so they, and he mimics the long pause and says, can understand how to present themselves in a way that does not, well, lead them to be perceived as mistrusting, old, and deeply, deeply, deeply difficult to work with. I don't want anyone in the city to be perceived that way.
Nor would I. And it is so refreshing to have someone in the city that understands the value of perception.
The Meals
But
on Wheels coterie is united in its front.
oh, I can tell. I can tell you all look out for each other ardently.
Well,
It
thank you.
is perhaps I will have to use you three as a lesson for my own coterie. They're young, a little wet behind the ears, but well, they have potential.
Colin boops over to Charles. I haven't heard of this coterie. If you
Charles,
have room,
yeah,
ask for it.
Charles
Don't
will
stress
actually.
out Wandy.
Charles will smile and say, "Well, if some of them were to be students, I would be surprised. I was not aware that you were sponsoring a coterie in the city. Would you mind if I asked, or is it a private piece?"
Just a group of neonates that are in desperate need of a bit of spit and polish. If I remember correctly, Mr. Fry, you were once a member of that said coterie.
I am aware of these individuals. Thank you. I did not know that they had changed shadows. Fascinating.
Well, after the unfortunate events with the Bosch down in the sewers, the prince felt a teaching event was necessary. And Valentina was placed elsewhere where she might better serve the city.
Charles,
Colin boops over just a fuckfest of information that probably isn't necessary right
it
now.
starts to come in,
It
and Charles
involves a
goes
sewer.
after. Yeah, Charles just repeats back in after.
He shuts up.
He's,
It's a lot.
he's-
It's a lot,
He
okay?
smiles. And he does actually. He doesn't want to reveal Wendy. So he will not necessarily speak past Laurent, but he will speak broadly to the room, and he will say, I thank you, truly, for continuing this conversation with us. It really, truly has been a pleasure. And I hope we can all continue to understand each other's gifts and make use of them. I think
Now,
that everyone in this room is supremely talented. And I think the things you were, and while I was modest when I first came into this room, allow me to be very clear. The things that vex us the most can often become great skills when they are put to the right use. And I feel you are putting your skills, everyone here is, to the best use.
well said, Mr. Pacifico. Now, if you'll excuse me, I will have one of my business associates show you to the door. Come along, cousin. Let's put on some telenovelas and relax for the evening. You've had such a night.
Charles will walk up to Laurent, and he will actually lower his voice, meaning to speak to Laurent, and he will just say, "Just so you know, I do not speak this as a means of embarrassment. I do believe she might have some paint behind her ears. You might want to get that cleaned off."
We'll get her scrubbed up, but thank you.
Yes. Charles bows his head and says, "I shall leave you to your night. Good evening."
Good evening to you
And
both. Thank you for your hospitality.
Thank you for your
Laurent will usher them out of the studio before going, Tobias, and a very large, muscular individual will step up, look at the three of you, and gently genuflect while ushering you towards the door, giving enough time for you to say some parting shots to your hosts.
Charles has said his goodbyes, and so he's keeping his mouth shut.
Same.
May I have a wits and awareness across the board?
Colin, you're about to have a great time.
That doesn't stress out Booker Colin at all. If Colin
Well,
were able to know
you
that.
got those +4 dice. It's a
Yeah, I do.
awareness.
That's fair. No, yeah. Wits this time. And we throw that, and we throw that. Ba, 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 ba. Nine coming at you live. Oh, that's yeah, fuck it. It's towards the end of the night. WP. Spicy. 10. Oh wait, no, 8.
Spicy.
About to-
Yeah, 8 successes, no crits.
only
but,
5.
You know,
Only 5 from Charles.
You fucking hell. Teamwork makes the dream work.
so go ahead, ST G'day. Show them what they've won.
Line door number 1.
Darlene, what did you roll? I'm sorry, I'm at a
2.
hotel and I can't see it all.
2 successes.
Oh, goodness, again.
Yes.
Okay.
We've
Lily's
got
having a night.
5 successes for Mr. Pacifico, 2 successes for Miss Lewis, and we have 8 successes for Mr. Fry.
Darlene would probably hear something akin to like a squeak. Charles would hear a faint voice, clearly Wendy Darling's, and then Laurent's words providing comfort. Colin would hear, "It was a bad one. Please don't let them."
Just a little knife, just a little bit. Just twist a little bit.
And then Laurent calming her down.
I'm thinking of the ashtray and Darlene on VMZ tapping, going, Lydia, we gotta talk.
I just want to talk. I just want to
Lydia.
talk.
Charles is quiet besides a few kind words to whoever shows them to the door, thanking them for the escort, and he will lead them back into the car unless they have any further points.
The individual that you heard called Tobias just leads you to the door, offers you a warm parting, enjoy your night, before
To you as well.
allowing
Thank
you
you.
to leave the Neverland Art Collective under your own power.
Better to walk than
As
be
the-
carried.
As the door swings shut, Mr. Fry, I need you to give me a composure and resolve, please.
Uh-huh. Would this be a mental roll with bonus dice from clarity?
It does.
Half of it
It
isn't.
does.
Half of it is
It works against any supernatural effect on one's mind or any mental
depends on what
skill
they're
or
doing
skill
to
in a
me.
discipline roll.
This is not a supernatural effect against you. But I want to see if something clicks.
Okay. In the interest of balance and fairness, if this is a willpower roll, it is reduced by how much willpower I've spent.
This is not technically a willpower roll. This is
Great.
just straight
I still have
composure and
dice.
resolve.
Then I still have dice.
It's a pool check.
Delicious 7. Hunger or no?
You know what? For this one, no.
Okay, 7 straight.
You've got this.
Oh! It is an attributes check. I could willpower it, or I could let that ride because that's a decent number.
If you can let that ride.
Okay.
The vision does not
don't see
take you over completely.
Fucking squeeze me? I don't have that. Okay.
No, you don't. But you are tapped into the net.
Uh-huh.
So the vision does not take you over completely. But you do see a vision of the past. I am going to place a link in your chat because you get to see something that not many people have gotten to see in character. Let me just find is that just called Darling today?
I can put it in Colin's chat because the one is 4 stories, and he only really gets the one.
Okay. There it is. I just found it myself.
One that he gets, not all of them.
Yeah, it's the one-eyed man.
Poor Wendy.
So
feel
I am going to
horrible for her.
post that in your chat right now.
Lydia.
I'm so glad I play Charles where I don't have to feel bad for anyone.
It really be like that some days.
I'm going to bio real quick. I'll be right back.
I'm probably going to read something in a moment. Oh, I recognize that name.
Mm-hmm. And you are experiencing this all from Wendy's perspective.
Yeah, so about that, how thoroughly, does that include tactile sensation, potentially?
Because of your crit, you do not feel anything, but this is a first-person perspective of what is going on.
God, fuck.
You are aware of the sensations that she is feeling in the moment. You are aware of the emotions she is feeling in the moment, but they are not your sensations. They are not your emotions. There is a clear delineation between where you stop and the vision starts.
Great. You only get to feel helpless instead of the full fucking experience.
Correct.
Colin gets a look. He's seen some shit and he's done some shit and he's known some shit. Colin, there's probably a brief moment because he's new to telepathy where you guys get a moment of horror that's not his own, and then he just shuts you both out for a second. Let me finish reading this fuckfest. One moment. Creative, which one of you wrote this?
G'day wrote this.
Nice. Yeah, the medical comes through. Ugh. With his fingers? Okay.
I'm sorry, the reaction on Charles's face right now.
I'm not looking at it for the moment. I've got Discord in full screen.
Yeah, this is Charles. This is
the
Charles's
whole-
actual reaction of like the rare thought that's slipping through telepathy right now.
Every now and then you get like, I guess every now and then you get the with his fingers, and then you get the whole eye socket afterwards. Really? Molten silver doesn't work that way. Okay. And then ow? You're kind of a bitch boyfriend. It comes through. Probably a nasty word that starts with a C and ends in uck. And rude thoughts towards Malleus, a name that neither of them probably know.
Means nothing to me. Yeah.
Words of comfort and reassurance. Fuck you, buddy. Yeah, at the end, he says, "I'm glad he beat you to death." Yeah, I finished it. Just a little bitter, very Colin thing of, "I'm glad he beat you to death," and it was Malleus who he beat to death in Graveyard, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. You get the two of you for a second, just this bitter, kind of nasty, like caustic hatred and like spite that probably Charles is very familiar with. Baby child of Colin going, "Yeah, I'm glad he beat you to death." And that little satisfied like thing, and then it just like, okay, cool. Then he goes, it gives it a second. "Hey, Sparkles, what the fuck?" in his head.
Oh, what? Oh, am I allowed to talk now?
He does that in his brain too. All right, so did you do that?
You were curious, weren't you? About the
But did I
skull.
ask?
Out loud?
Yes, did I ask?
Oh, not out loud?
We're gonna teach you Fry's consent, mysterious voice in my head. He just sends her the Planned Parenthood list of freely given, reversible, informed, enthusiastic, and specific.
Charles is panicking for a minute. He goes, "Are you good, Colin?"
Yeah, because you just watch Colin. The two of you watch Colin freeze.
Yeah, he froze. I hear with his fingers. "I'm glad he beat you to death," and those are the two least on the scale of things you want to hear coming
Molten
at you
silver
with that
doesn't work
speed of
that
thought.
way.
Yeah. Those three thoughts together are like, they don't paint a picture more so than they blow up a wall.
Thin blood and fucking cative. Oh, it's reversed on my screen. Maybe it's pointing in the right direction. I don't know. Listen, you probably got the molten silver doesn't work that way and the frustration of science and stupid occult bullshit, which Colin has expressed how he's upset with how symbolism works in the world of darkness. But you probably, when he said molten silver doesn't work that way, maybe put it together. But yeah, Colin's like, "No, I'll be fine though. I've had worse done to me. But fuck, that wasn't planned. And I dislike it for that reason too."
See, Darlene has not let go of Colin's hand since
No.
the Neverland Collective.
He's not thrilled with that. He tries to like take it away so he can better show
Yeah,
her.
I mean, we can
Okay.
roll brawl on it, but she's not.
He ain't in the position just yet, and also the two of them with their strength rolls and brawl amounts would be hilarious later, but not now. That'd be funny though, but not now. He just
Coterie
like,
of noodle arms.
fucking slapbox the fucking unbelievable. Okay, so they probably, with the doesn't paint a picture blows up a wall, they probably got that. But hey Sandy, what the fuck? So that was you, right?
You could have seen me ago.
We're gonna politely inform Sam. I wish to politely and cordially inform you that would be considered a dick move in most polite societies. A warning before flashbanging somebody with getting molten silver poured into their eye socket while they're held down by their loved one who is a bitch-made boyfriend and a mad fucking Michael was the doctor. Oh, wasn't Michael the doctor for the no, that was a different name, wasn't it?
He was he was the chief resident at the hospital, but he was
It was
also
that
the
motherfucker,
former
yeah.
he was also
Yeah.
the
No,
former
no, no, no.
seneschal.
And then
Yep.
he says several rude words that are not TOS on Twitch about Michael and goes from there. And then also circles back to, and Malleus was not a good partner if he didn't stand up. Also, what the fuck? Part 2 Electric Boogaloo with a Vengeance. Sandy?
I kept you from feeling it.
Okay, but that's like crashing somebody's car and saying, but did you die though?
Well, no, you're already dead.
Malkavians. This is what the book says in his head. Huh, this is what it's like to be on the other end of a Malkavian. Huh. Hi in my second Hakata. Right, he says, in about that same tone of voice in his head. Please give me warning before doing something of that nature so I may brace before I feel molten hot, alchemically enhanced silver poured into my eye socket after it's been cored out by fingers instead of so much as a tube or anesthetic.
And she is going to replicate perfectly Charles's voice. Knowledge is power.
Don't be sassy.
And the word leverage.
Are you implying I have leverage over your friend? Because I thought that's how that rolled. In other words, whose side are you on?
You're my friend?
I thought you were friends with Darling, but you've invaded my mind. That's pretty fucking personal for one thing. Uh, 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 I'd like to not be your friend since you're also inside my skull.
You're my friend?
Okay. All right. Also, Colin is getting like a mix of facial expressions of horror, shock, frustration, bemusement, frustration, god damn it, oh for fuck's sake, whatever, on his face while you're driving and you're holding his hand and he can't get out. So he's like that trapped cat being hugged vibe from both inside his mind and on his body now. It's
Naughty cats get the
Colin is
panini press.
that's about where Colin is physically and mentally. Is anything worse going to happen to me if I say yes?
I suppose that depends upon your definition.
Being tortured and potentially eaten alive. That would be worse. That's kind of my high bar.
Oh. No?
Yeah, fuck it, I'll take it.
So the drive back to the coterie haven,
It's
I
weird.
will allow the three of you to have any out loud conversation that you would like as you feel Sandy kind of retreat.
I think I
Almost
made a friend, and by that I mean
almost
I've been
like
adopted.
almost like somebody just kind of randomly walking away mid conversation, just like turning and toddling off somewhere else.
If she didn't say she was a Malkavian, I'd think she's a La Sombra.
Are you okay, Colin?
No.
Yeah, I don't think any. I'm very uncomfortable with the idea that I am the most fine person in this vehicle right now. That is not how
I
this
am
thing
so
normally
sorry
goes.
for earlier, by the by. That Malkavian is a Malkavian.
It's fine. I made a error in judgment, and that is my own cross to bear, not yours. Regardless, let's debrief the mission for now, and we can deal with any personal affairs later. Firstly, excellent work. We managed to successfully get what we needed. We have something to report back to the Harpy. We have formed a new potential alliance, which may give us future work and help support our overall ambitions in the city. We must be cautious, however, by allying ourselves with the Roses. We have potentially put ourselves in odd water with our immediate direct above us in the Harpy, and that may prove challenging if we want to continue to climb the court ladder. We'll have to maneuver very carefully. Colin, you performed exceptionally. Great work listening to my advice. Your insight was exceptional, and it allowed us to paint ourselves as a single unified front. Keep doing that. You were beyond helpful. I would go as far as to dare say that you were the reason we were able to succeed so succinctly. Darlene, Miss Lewis, you were exceptional as always in the art of persuasion and generosity. I don't hold it against you for your reaction. If they had whipped out a picture of my touchstones, I imagine that I would have had probably much a similar reaction. We are all not immune to everything. That being said, I do believe that in the future, you and I should have some degree of lessons to make sure that you are slightly better able to hide. I don't want you to become any less genuine, but it is important to be able to protect those you love by protecting them from you.
I think I hurt her feelings.
It's fine. We're corpses. We don't have feelings.
She had
Rude.
feelings. I mean, like,
Colin gives a quiet, half shell-shocked rude under his breath.
Yeah. Charles says, everything we experience since the moment we died is the vague lingerings that we cling to of what we once were. We must remember that though we are damned, it is not new experiences that paint who we are. It is the faint, completely hopeless memories of what was once joy and love and laughter. So do not allow yourself in these moments to think that you have done anything wrong. Learn from your experience, find different memories, paint a better picture, put on a better mask. Miss Lewis, I will help you to do so. I understand you're afraid you upset her feelings. I promise you that was resolved as far as politics is concerned. If we wish to form closer bonds with them in the future, I leave that to you two. You are those who still believe in such things, and I will do what I do best, which is protect our rational self-interests, my own self-interest, and the self-interests of this city, and the self-interests of these Roses, as they have proven themselves to be valuable allies willing to work outside of the rational system of debt. Any questions?
Colin raises a hand, his one free hand. Actually, no, it's funnier. He raises the two hands of Darlene and his own. And he
I look
says,
surprised, but she like doesn't really let go. Just like,
yeah, I figured.
okay.
First off, he sends, while Charles is talking via his mind, he doesn't mean it. He likes you. You're fine. You did good. He's a little bit upsetty spaghetti. It happens. Colin says aloud, hey, I think you're a little rattled, and that's perfectly fair, as Colin nuts the fuck up and says, I would like to cut the mind link and leave you to your comfort, if you think it is safe now.
I have learned that it seems that my mind is never safe, but I appreciate your asking. I would appreciate cutting the link, and I am driving as quickly as I can because the moment I can already feel the clarity slipping from my mind, and if we're not back at our haven when that happens, whatever effects this formula will have may take it out on me, and I would rather not like to be on the road when that happens, lest I drive us into a wall, which would be a very
Oh, fuck.
unfavorable way to end this night. So please lead me to my focus. I am getting us home. As soon as we stumble into the door, I'd say I'm going to be sick, but I don't know what this formula is going to do to me. I suppose
Colin's
we're gonna have to find
paranoia
out.
of his natural beast reaction starts to creep up, and he needs to clamp that shit down as he realizes he might potentially frenzy behind the wheel with two people in the car that he doesn't like, and I just invaded his mind, and I know what it's like in there, and I know how he values his privacy. He cuts off the link and says, "My question I think can wait," exercising my insight.
Excellent. Now, if you excuse me, and Charles shifts into the next gear and just fucking tries to gun it home as fast as he can to make sure
We
that
hit
this
mock
formula
Jesus.
doesn't. Charles is careful not to do anything that's going to draw adverse attention to them. He is moving at the speed of fuck. I have a doctor's appointment. Not oh god, there's a corpse in the back of the car.
Technically, but fair enough.
He's a liar. That's why he can do it.
Mm-hmm.
The question is,
So,
are we able to get home before the effects wear off?
heads or tails, Mr.
Oh, fuck.
Pacifico?
This is about to be really interesting for you, Darlene, if the two of us have issues.
I always pick heads because Charles is a plastic face.
You are in luck, Mr. Pacifico. Heads it is.
Plastic face, here we go.
You are able to make it, not just make it back to the coterie haven, but make it inside. Now, where do we have the Wheel of Misfortune?
We do. I can post it.
Oh yes, please, book. Go ahead.
Wheel of Misfortune. Turn, turn, turn. Tell us the lesson that we should learn.
It involves a 1 through 10, and you can see the interesting options we have.
All right.
Ooh, okay.
Well, each of you
So-
roll a dice in the dice spot so we can get the number.
Darlene, is
Absolutely.
it just the two of us, or do you have to roll it as well?
Yes,
it's
Darlene
inside
does
you.
not roll. Darlene does not.
You get to
roll the Wheel of
watch. You get to.
Misfortune.
You
I get
cannot
to
stop
watch.
us. You can only watch.
I get to watch.
You get to see what the formula does to us. Yay! I'll just roll a B.
All right,
pool.
Charles. Fucking let's hold hands and embrace the abyss together. Here we go.
That's a 4 from Charles.
That's a 5. What is a 5?
Okay.
Oh, Oh no!
Wheel
Oh
of
no!
Misfortune. Turn, turn, turn.
So,
Yay!
Oh dear! That
Charles,
paranoia.
you got a 4.
Mhm.
You will be under the effects of blood swoon until the end of the next session, which will
Aye,
be
aye.
our next coterie session. Until the end of the next session, disobeying the alchemist's request requires a resolve plus intelligence test with their alchemy rating as the difficulty. Colin,
Darlie is still holding your hand, bro. She's still holding your hand when this
We might be
happens.
going for a drag. Maybe.
you have been convinced that you have been poisoned. May I please have a terror frenzy at a difficulty of 2?
It's under my skin. I have to remove my skin. Hey, this is the second frenzy I've rolled, and the last one was last year. Remind me what I do. Also, I'm at 3 willpower.
It is your remaining willpower and your 1/3 of your humanity rounded down.
Oh dear. Hey, gang, I'm a late riser for a reason. We're about to see something, maybe.
Are you humanity 6 or humanity 5?
6.
Then you 2 bonus dice.
Yep, that's 2 die plus your remaining willpower, so you're rolling 5 die total.
I could do it. I can do it. Barely.
Hey,
Colin.
meets it,
On the nose.
meets it, beats it. So you
That
have
was a little close.
successfully resisted the terror frenzy.
Fuck.
But you are still left with that lingering. Your heebies have been GB'd. There is
It's
no
inside me.
compulsion. There is no frenzy. You don't feel as though you need to spill your vitae. You don't feel as though there is something inside of you that needs to be purged. But you are left with that just terrible sinking dread in the back of your mind as it slowly fades throughout the remainder of the evening. But as you all make it back to the Coterie Haven and you experience the results of the Wheel of Misfortune, you find your shadows waiting for you in the communal area. Rowan, as you walk in, Rowan looks like hammered dog shit, and Sifra is very attentively tending to him. It's fine, Dragonfly. It was just one hunter. I'll be okay.
You guys okay?
Colin's paranoia ratchets up just another notch on the dial that goes to 11. Hi, boss.
Darlene is holding the painting, no cover.
Oh, is she holding the painting? Does Colin have his hand back?
Oh, well,
You're
Laurent did.
on one arm, motherfucker.
Laurent did wrap it up for you before y'all left. So, unless you unwrapped it in the car.
Okay, then no, she's still holding it under one arm. You're
Colin's
trapped.
every now and then
You're trapped.
twitch this way. Hi, boss. Hunters, huh?
It's fine. I took care of it. And it's just this very, like, not about me. It's about you.
Colin does this for a second, and then remembers what his face looks like and shuts that back again. Probably not helping.
Grunts and shifts as Sifra looks like she's kind of bandaging up various wounds so that he has a chance to heal them at a later date. But he's taped up his arms, bandages across his chest. Nothing over the heart, but it definitely looks like this guy went blow for blow with something bladed.
Oh.
Not bad for a Hakata. We don't have strength disciplines. Inherently. Maybe he's got potence or fortitude from somebody else. No, we have fortitude, though. He could be.
What happened? I mean, what happened?
One of the Ancilla got made. I went to go clean up a body, and I was not paying attention. Thankfully, they didn't get the full drop on me, but it's fine. I'm fine.
You're going to make my stitches crooked.
Fine. So, how'd it go at Neverland?
Colin gestures over with the two hands towards Charles. Tag.
Yeah. Charles nods. Does Darlene acknowledge Charles in any way?
Like acknowledge him, like
Does she give any gesture towards him or anything?
gestures towards him?
With one hand, she did at least.
I mean, she knows that he's in the room, and she's
All right, awesome.
you know.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye out for if Darlene does anything towards Charles because I can't beat the difficulty of your alchemy margin. I don't think I can roll enough successes. So if Darlene instructs Charles to do anything,
Right.
he is completely powerless.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Oh, that's horrifying.
I'll let you know. And I think, does Darlene know what the effects were, or is it just okay?
I don't believe the alchemist ever has any indication.
Wow. Okay. Yep. Oh man. Okay.
Either way, he will clear his throat and say, Wonderland, or Neverland, rather, my apologies, was another successful outing for our coterie, despite some unintended events, we were able to sufficiently endear ourselves, I believe, to the roses. We were able to reach a mutual agreement, and we will continue to share information freely. It is the assessment of Colin that these individuals are honest in their loyalty to Prince Sexton and the court and the dream, though they may require time to fully learn how best to embody that. It is not out of any sense of malice. As such, we believe that the Roses will be valuable allies going forward, and we look forward to working with them as the Meals on Wheels coterie. As well as that, I have taken them up on their offer to place me as a part of one of their new etiquette clubs that they are working on, as someone to help instruct some other members on the city on how to speak in a particularly courtly and proper manner, both to their elders and, of course, to each other.
Well, there's that. Good job, all of you. It's not easy dealing with the Roses, especially Laurent. He is just so damn slimy.
It's pretty nice, actually.
Charles
Darlene
tosses-
releases Colin's hand and
Colin
shows
takes
him
his
at
hand
the
back
painting.
and puts it in his pocket.
Yeah. He was-
Charles actually does speak. Not necessarily trying. There's a tact in his voice. He's trying to communicate. I do believe that, unfortunately, there may be some less savory rumors in the court that may be perhaps influencing. It is my opinion, and while of course you have more experience in the city and with the whip than I do, that I believe he is guarded, as he believes that he may have enemies within the court who have it out for him. I would personally say that I plan on working rather closely with him and learning more about him and his ideals, but from our initial discussion, I believe, much like myself, that sliminess is a defensive mechanism against being burned, not by the prince and his ambitions, but by others who would wish to see him fall.
Well, none of you have been wrong in your assessments yet, so I'll take your word for it. Just be careful. The Roses are rebuilding here in Philadelphia, but there are some of us that remember how quickly they fell in lockstep behind the old regime.
Fear is a powerful motivator.
Colin nods at that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am sure that Mr. Fry will present you a full threat report on the findings, written and for your perusal at a later time. But for now, I hope that is acceptable. I understand if you wish to simply close the conversation off, but I have noted hunting seemed to be a particularly more cautious affair for myself today, and I do not know if others have experienced the same. Your encounter seems to prove what I'm saying, and what we heard from the Ancilla coterie in our discussion. I must ask, is there anything we can do to assist?
Assist? No. But don't go hunting alone. None of you.
I should have.
Buddy system. Until we get this locked up, buddy system.
Would it be potentially advantageous to visit our ally in the sewers and see if perhaps we can be running beneath the city if the streets are going to become more dangerous for making deliveries? I imagine the hunters will begin targeting supply lines if they sense that they can begin to separate us. And if they are using ambush tactics, as you say, they may start to try and find out who is providing the lifeblood that is keeping people away from the hunt.
I can talk to our sponsor. She has an inn with the Lord of the Under. It might be beneficial for us to start using the Undercity to move around. It's going to take us longer to get places, but they can't attack what they can't see.
Better than not arriving at all.
Especially when we are carrying the cargo that prevents the entire situation from spiraling even further out of control.
And,
Hungry kindred make easy targets.
and there we go. Okay, all stitched up, and they're only a little crooked.
Thanks, Dragonfly. You're the best.
Charles, the clinic is up and running. We may have an extra supply coming in. Maybe you could use it.
I will use it. And Charles just responds instantly. Like there's suddenly this snap to his neck, and he says, "I will use it. I will go make use of it."
Oh, she said maybe. Okay, she said maybe.
It was a request.
Yeah, Charles.
It was an offer, but it was a
"Done."
request.
It was.
It's a very good idea. I mean, the coterie should probably have some herd. Just in case. I think it's recommended for most of them, actually.
And Rowan looks at the group. Speaking of, hey, Dragonfly, you want to accompany me while I grab a quick bite? These folks could stand to wind down for the night.
You want me to go?
Yeah, we're just meeting up with an old friend so I can grab a quick bite. Figure you can wait in the car. I know you don't do people that much, but well, it'd be good to have somebody who has my back.
I get to go. Seeper's just excited.
And he stands up slowly, almost painfully, and pulls on one of those like tight, stretchy athletic shirts, like an Under Armour type of deal. It successfully covers most of the bandages. He slides on a pair of gloves, jams his fists in his pockets. You guys have a good night. I desperately need to get something to eat, and then I think Thiefer and I are going to retire to the Haven and not move for a little while.
You guys have a good night.
You have a good night too. And I'm glad you guys perceive that you did as well as you did. Because honestly, I don't think I've ever heard a true word come out of the mouth of Mr. Delbar. And well, Wendy she's unstable.
Charles
She's
does not
been in-
disagree with that statement.
Colin
Charles-
immediately says before he can stop himself, she's been hurt.
Yes.
He makes a face after that.
Charles clears his throat and says, "Well, we've all died at least once. Now then, I will allow you to get to your night."
Have a good night.
You too. Stay safe, guys.
Colin waves with his free hand that is not in his pocket.
Charles bows
And-
because the less words he says, the less chance of him lying.
Bye, guys.
And with that, we will allow our coterie, now that they are in private, to have one final parting shot each, and then we will close out the session. So we will start with Mr. Pacifico.
He's already felt it once. He immediately masked over every defense online, but there is nothing he could do. Those were not his words that came out of his mouth, though they were in his voice. He knows that feeling well. That calling in his vitae, that sense that there is no will, no matter how much he practices, no matter how far he comes, he is still that little ghoul behind the wheel of a car. And he will not let that show. He will not let his defenses crack again, as he smiles as politely as he can and says, "Excellent work, the both of you. I cannot wait for further operations between us. The Meals on Wheels coterie has found fantastic success so far, and I imagine our ascent will be meteoric, so long as we maintain our coordination with each other."
Mr. Fry, parting shot.
Colin looks distracted. He's reaching up to the side of his face. His eye is twitching. Every now and then his head jerks to the side. I'm a little distracted. I think we all had a rough one. I would like if in a few days' time we could debrief together and check on each other. Again, if you need help hunting, please request my presence. I want to be able to provide Overwatch for you two. I'm comparatively fine because you two helped me get organs. I don't know
Well,
how you two feed. I just want you to do it safely.
ring a ding ding. Right at the end of the session, we have had our first redemption
What?
for an XP boost.
Oh, who did a what now?
Ah!
So tonight, our entire cast will be receiving 3 bonus XP
What the fuck?
courtesy of Mr. Pacifico.
Charles, you crazy person.
Charles. Oh my goodness.
So that's going to be 1 XP for each of us, I believe?
No,
Nope.
no.
That
is
is
3
3
XP for each of you.
For each of you.
Holy shit. That's a dot.
My
Wow.
hero.
Hey, I've got to sit around and watch more sessions here on Philly by Night whenever the Twitch goes live. I'm the one who's lucky.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
He
In
really
or
is
out
good
of
at the game,
character.
isn't he, Chad?
So, and lastly, but certainly not leastly, Miss Lewis, your parting shots for the night.
Charles, are you okay?
No.
Do you want to
Are-
talk about it?
No.
And we will leave it there
Have a good night.
as we close out our session here at Philly by Night. We are going to go around the table, have everybody introduce themselves, and then we will go ahead and end our stream. So we will start off in chat order. Mr. Pacifico, who are you and where can we find you?
Good evening, good evening, good evening, or wherever your time zones you are. My name is SpymanX, and I play Charles Pacifico. You can find me on Discord under that, on Philly by Night, or anywhere else on Discord. You can also find me on TikTok at a SpymanX, and it is lovely to be here.
Moving on to our next player, Mr. Fry. Who are you and where can we find you?
I am Book. I play Colin Fry, whose tummy hurts and he is mad at the past government currently. It is a pleasure. I will be on Discord as Grim Grimoire.
Miss Lewis, our lovely Duskborn. Who are you and where can we find you?
I go by Worst Vampire Darlene on just about every social media platform out there, and I hope to see you out. This has been great.
Our wonderful ST for the Meals on Wheels coterie. Tonight portraying C for She, Wendy Darling, and Sandy the Malkavian. Who are you and where can we find you?
Well, hello. My name is G'day, GHEDEFX, on just about everywhere I want you to find me. My socials are a little bit content exclusive these days, mostly on purpose. TikTok is where you will get a lot of my political opinions and some random memery. Blue Sky is where you can find out more about my writing journey. And YouTube is where you can find a lot of my makeup content.
And as always, I am Einar. You can find me at Einar_TTRPG on the Clock app, or you can find me where the skies are blue at instarsorbit.bsky.social. You can find me pretty much anywhere else at Einar_TTRPG if that's where I want you to find me. Otherwise, good luck. And I am the lead ST and all around rubber face SPC portrayer here on Philly by Night. And with that concluded, we want to thank you all for coming out, watching our fun little streams. We wish you a good night. And remember, just because we play monsters doesn't mean we can't be the light in somebody's world. Have a great night and stay safe.